Reverend Insanity Blood Venerable Ascension by Creed Follower Chapter 1-20. It's been 10 years since I arrived in this world, will I ever be able to go back home? Chen Wei looked out from his room towards the evening sky of Longwushan Mountain with a complex gaze, lost in deep thoughts as he reminisced about the past. He didn't originally belong in this world, he was a transmigrator from Earth or, as it was called in this world, an otherworldly demon. Normally, transmigrating to a world of fantasy and cultivation would be a cause for excitement and enthusiasm, but Chen Wei knew all too well the world he found himself in. This was a world of killing, where the strong intimidated the weak, injustice was nothing more than words thrown to the wind. Well, at least I was born in a peaceful era, he said with a relieved expression, letting out a sigh. The first thing he did upon arriving in the GU world was to check which continent and era he was in. Southern border. Who would have thought I'd end up in the same place as in the novel, at least it's not during Fang Yuan's era. Chen Wei transmigrated between the thieving heaven and the giant sun eras, but he didn't know exactly when, as the novel didn't provide details about dates. Young Master Chen Wei, your bath is ready, a maid came to inform him. Thank you, Sui Yi. Please inform my grandfather that I won't be long, Chen Wei replied. While he relaxed in the bathtub, he was deep in thought. Chen Wei, it seems that no matter how many times I hear this name, I never quite get used to it. After bathing and allowing the maids to dress him, he headed to the clan pavilion with a retinue of servants. Along the way, he saw several youths of his age heading in the same direction, some alone, others with friends. The awakening ceremony has finally arrived, Chen Wei said this, but with a deep apprehension that he might share the same fate as Fang Yuan, having low aptitude. As he walked, several youths pointed at him and whispered to each other, some not even bothering to disguise their conversations about him. Chen Wei had grown accustomed to this treatment, as he was the grandson of one of the clan's principal elders, who was also the leader of one of the clan's 4 major political factions. Indeed, if I do have low aptitude, my fall will be even greater than Fang Yuan's, he thought with a calm smile on his face, mentally preparing himself for this outcome over the years. Of course, he didn't have a defeatist or failure attitude, he was just prepared for the worst-case scenario, even if it meant being immortal without the ability to cultivate. Lost in deep thoughts, he quickly arrived at the clan pavilion. The pavilion was filled with excited and hopeful 15-year-old youths about the bright future they could have, but Chen Wei focused his attention on 2 in particular, Lu Zhao and Xu Sheng, the former being another grandson of an important elder of the clan, and the latter a talented youth from a common family of GU masters. Suddenly, applause rang out as the academy elder stood on a platform in front of the crowd of 15-year-old youths, calling for silence. All right, I know you're all excited, but please be silent so you can hear me clearly, the academy elder spoke calmly, not raising his voice, but all the youths in the grand pavilion heard him clearly as he used a GU worm to transmit his voice. Well, my young ones, you're right to be excited because today is the most important moment of your lives, he spoke while looking at the crowd, assessing the new generation of the clan. This will be the moment that determines whether you'll be mere mortal servants or proud GU masters acting as the pillars of the glorious Heian clan. The youths roared excitedly in unison, showing their hope for their futures. However, not all of them would become GU masters, in fact, only 5 out of every 10 would, much to the dismay of those who failed to become GU masters. Chen Wei listened without paying much attention as the academy elder repeated the same rules he had heard thousands of times from his father and grandfather. Seriously, even mortals know these rules by heart, so why do we need to stay here in this boredom? Chen Wei heard a youth with a common appearance but expensive clothes complaining. Hey, shut up and pay attention to the words of the academy elder. A youth with a stern appearance scolded angrily, one of the few paying attention to the academy elder. Chen Wei listened to the exchange between the two, wondering why they were arguing over something so trivial. After the academy elder finished his explanation, he, followed by the academy guards, led the students to the clan's spirit spring for their awakening. Wow, it's so beautiful. The foundation of our Heian clan is truly profound. So, this is the legendary spirit spring. The youths spoke excitedly among themselves as they saw this fantastic place for the first, and for many here, the last time. All right, as I explained before, I'll call your names, and you'll come forward and walk as far as you can along the river, the academy elder said. Yes, the youths responded. They already knew this from the explanations of their parents and the previous explanation of the Academy Elder. He and Shu Jin, the Academy Elder, called the first youth. A youth with a common face but a strong body stepped out of the crowd confidently and began to walk along the river, but after just 5 steps, he couldn't walk any further and had to return with an expression of despair and sadness. What do I do now? My family is depending on me. He looked at the ground with a desperate look, holding back tears. He and Liu Bei, the Academy Elder, called again, not caring about Shu Jin, who was kneeling on the ground. Liu Bei, a skinny boy with long braids, walked nervously towards the river. 1, 2, 3, 8, 16. Liu Bei counted in his head as he walked until he couldn't walk anymore and returned to the Academy Elder to inspect his aperture. Liu Bei, D-grade aperture with the potential to be rank 1 for life, maybe rank 2 if lucky. Despite the Academy Elder's words, Liu Bei was excited since he came from a mortal family, so becoming a GU master was already a dream come true for him. He and Xu Shang, a tall youth with an aura of high confidence, walked forward and entered the river without hesitation. Come on, you can do it, prove to everyone what you're capable of, Xu Shang self-motivated as he began to walk along the river. 1, 2, 7, 23, 38. After taking the last step, he felt his aperture being awakened, and he returned to the Academy Elder with an excited look. Xu Shang, 38 steps, B-grade aperture, to be nurtured rigorously, with the potential to become an elder in the clan, maybe even reach rank 4, the Academy Elder said with high expectations for the young man. He and Chen Wei inwardly sighed, preparing himself for this important moment, and walked forward from the crowd towards the river. Along the way, he felt everyone's gaze, especially from the elders and clan leader. He saw his grandfather, Chen Wang, looking at him expectantly, while the elders Xu Yang and Peng Du looked attentively at the grandson of their political rival, and Wang Shi, the clan leader, looked calmly, with a gaze that didn't reveal his true emotions. 1, 2, 3, 14, he counted mentally as he walked slowly, feeling relieved that he wasn't just a mortal. 23, 36, 45. After taking his last step, he returned to the Academy Elder, who looked at him with a big smile on his face. Chen Wei, 45 steps, A-grade aperture, truly a blessing for the clan with great potential, to be greatly nurtured, and could reach rank 4, even rank 5 if trained rigorously and with abundant luck, the elder said to Chen Wei with a smile on his face. Chen Wei returned to the crowd of youths, where many came to congratulate and flatter him. He remained calm but politely thanked everyone for their congratulations. He saw his grandfather flaunting his grandson's talent to his rivals, and then he sent his congratulations to Chen Wei with a big smile on his face. Although he didn't show it, Chen Wei was very excited since he had prepared himself for low talent, so having an A grade was like a blessing. While Chen Wei reviewed his plans in case he had an A grade mentally, Lu Zhao had just had his aperture checked by the elder, who announced that he had a B grade after walking 35 steps. The rest proceeded without many surprises, with most of the students having D and C grades and only 2 more having a B grade. One of them was Suo, the daughter of a famous peak-rank GU master from the clan, while the biggest surprise was the other B grade, a young man named Jin Jiyu, who was the son of 2 mortals in a family that hadn't produced GU masters for generations. Then comes rank 4, colored golden yellow, and finally rank 5, colored purple crystal. They are also divided into initial, middle, upper, and peak, just like your rank 1 ones. The elder of the academy is explaining fervently to the newly awakened aperture students about the cultivation ranks. The students, for the most part, are paying full attention to the academy elder, trying to absorb as much knowledge as possible. The class is organized in such a way that students with high cultivation aptitude or connections within the clan are seated at the front of the classroom, while those with lower aptitude and fewer connections sit at the back. A student in the middle of the classroom raises his hand to ask for permission to ask a question, and the elder nods, allowing him to do so. Academy Elder, what about the legendary immortal realm? The young man asks curiously, wanting to know about the legendary immortal realm he had heard about in legends. Well, apart from the legends, there isn't much that I know. The Academy Elder has a complicated look on his face, not knowing much about cultivation from rank 6 to 9. In the long history of our clan, there has never been a person to reach that realm. Even the 4 great leaders in the history of our clan who reached rank 5 left no information about the immortal realm from rank 6 onwards. The Academy Elder responds to the student's question and begins to talk a bit about the clan's history for the students. Sigh, but well, that's in the past. At the moment, the clan has a total of 2 rank 4 GU masters, as everyone knows. They are the current clan leader and the old leader who is currently incapacitated due to age and injuries sustained throughout his life. The elder has a sad look as he thinks about the precarious situation of the old clan leader who never fully recovered after an assassination attempt that almost succeeded. While most of the youth are paying attention to the stories and teachings of the Academy Elder, Chen Wei is thinking about the events of the previous night and his conversation with his grandfather. Flashback. I, Chen Wei, pay my respects to my esteemed grandfather. Chen Wei salutes while kneeling on one knee before his grandfather. Ah, little Wei, you don't need all this formality with Grandpa. Chen Wang speaks with a gentle voice and face that would make his enemies question if he's the same person. Chen Wang exudes the aura of a wise and just monarch who can be both a benevolent administrator and a brutal conqueror. Well, little Wei, you've made me very proud. An A-grade aptitude of 85% is a great blessing for our Chen family. He speaks with pride and happiness, thinking about the bright future ahead for his grandson. Ah, your father had an aptitude of 83%. He also had a bright future if it weren't for that incident. His mood shifts from happy and excited to melancholic. Chen Wei knows that this incident was the assassination attempt on the old clan leader that led to his father suffering a serious injury that caused him to fall in cultivation and aptitude. But let's forget the sad past and celebrate the blessings of the present. He takes out a GU worm and hands it to Chen Wei. This is the Legend Recall Rank 1 GU worm, and it contains various of my experiences on battle, refinement, nourishment, and GU usage. Chen Wei takes the GU worm from his grandfather but doesn't refine it since he doesn't want it to become his vital GU. Thank you very much, grandfather. I will always remember your kindness and care, and I swear to bring glory to the clan. Although Chen Wei is genuinely grateful, he doesn't aim to bring glory to the clan or anything like that since he's fully aware of how small the mortal world is. Well, you're a young man who knows his duty and expresses deserved gratitude. My teachings have not been in vain. He speaks happily as he continues to explain. Most of the information in there I've already taught you over the years, but there are still some pieces of information I've been waiting for you to awaken your aperture to reveal. Chen Wei shows an excited face, but inside he has no excitement since with his knowledge from the novel, he has more theoretical knowledge about cultivation than his grandfather can give him. Yes, grandfather, I will work hard to turn this theoretical knowledge into practical. He carefully stores the GU worm to avoid accidentally injuring the GU. And could you tell me if grandfather agrees with my proposal in case I take first place in the first academy test? He asks, wanting to know his grandfather's opinion on the request Chen Wei made to him yesterday. Well, little Chen, refining your rank 1 signature GU from our water-cut GU clan into this rank 1 blood-cut GU you've developed isn't the wisest idea. He falls silent for a while in deep thought. But it's not like I can dictate how you live your life. I can only advise you and give you my support in the path you choose to tread. He takes out a piece of paper and hands it to Chen Wei. Write down the materials you'll need for the refinement. I'll get them for you if you take first place in the first academy test. Chen Wei writes down the materials and their quantities, the majority being blood from different animals and some plants of the blood path. Thank you, grandfather. I assure you that the blood-cut GU has great future potential. Although blood gusts don't have an established history or reputation, I promise you they are the future. This blood-cut GU was partially developed by him, so he has great confidence in its potential. To be more specific, 4 years ago, an elder friend of his grandfather, who has a hobby of creating new GU worms, came to show his grandfather his new creation. This creation was a modification of the water cut, and he named it Bloody Water Cut GU, which launched a blade of red water that, despite having less cutting power, caused a large amount of bleeding to the enemy. When Chen Wei saw the GU being used for the first time, he was inspired and finally decided what his chosen path for cultivation in the future would be if he could become a GU master. Of course, as a reader of the novel, he knows that the blood path is one of the strongest and has greater potential, being a path created by a venerable, so this only increased his desire to practice this path, which at this time was not even seen as demonic. Thus, he asked his grandfather's friend for a bloody water cut, which was not a problem for an elder who wanted to gain favor with his grandfather. So, over time, he has been researching and learning about the blood path, which has not been easy since he is a pioneer and has no one to rely on except his knowledge from the novel on how the blood path should be. But to his pleasant surprise, he discovered that he is quite talented in things related to the blood path, receiving praises from his grandfather, father, and older brother several times. In fact, his great talent was the only reason his grandfather allowed him to refine his vital GU into the blood cut GU. In fact, he has already developed several rank 1 blood path GU recipes for movement, investigation, combat, and storage over these 4 years. Although he has never refined any of them personally, he has asked the GU refining masters of his family to do so, so he knows that at least some of them, like the blood cut GU, are viable for refinement. But now he will have to refine the blood cut GU personally since his grandfather wouldn't let him seek external help because according to him, that would only create a spoiled young master instead of a responsible and capable successor for our family. This is also one of the reasons why he will not receive primeval stones from his grandfather to get ahead of the others, just as the other elders will not give them to their grandchildren. This is an implicit agreement among the elders of the clan to generate a new generation of capable successors who can fend for themselves without relying on their parents and grandparents for everything. I bid farewell to my esteemed grandfather and promise not to disappoint his expectations. After Chen Wei leaves his meeting with his grandfather, he goes straight to bed since it is already late at night, and he can't be late for the academy tomorrow. End of flashback. Well, students, we've come to the end of today's class, but I still have an important announcement to make before you leave. He shows them a GU that looks like a green water spider. As you have already learned to check your own aperture and move your primeval essence, the next step is for you to refine your own vital GU. And of course, the first to successfully refine their vital GU will be rewarded with the handsome sum of 20 primeval stones. With the elder's announcement, most of the young students become quite excited and motivated to achieve first place in the first official competition at the academy. Chen Wei has just left the GU room of the academy with a water-cut GU in his pocket. As he heads back home, he sees a long line of at least 70 students waiting their turn to pick up their vital GU. He had the privilege of being first due to having the highest aptitude among this year's students, as positions in the line were determined by their innate aptitude from highest to lowest. Water cut GU, it's actually not a bad GU, in fact, it's quite exceptional. It's versatile, powerful, with a medium attack range, and doesn't overly deplete primordial essence. Chen Wei thinks about the pros of his clan's main GU as he walks home. This GU showcases the profound foundation of our clan that has existed for centuries, well, profound foundation for the mortal world. At least, along the way, he sees the vibrant and bustling aura of the Heian clan, which holds a dominant position compared to the other 2 clans of Longwushan Mountain. As for my blood-cut GU, it has greater strength and speed, but also a higher primordial essence consumption, and the worst part is that it has an uncertain development path as I'm pioneering the blood path now. This is one of the difficulties of being the tip of the spear and a pioneer in anything in life, but Chen Wei has accepted this challenge that comes with realizing his ambitions. Welcome, young Master Wei. The mansion guards greet him. Let the servants know that I'll be in closed cultivation, and no one has permission to enter my room, Chen Wei states, heading straight to his room without waiting for the servant's response. Yes, young master. The guards respond simultaneously and go to carry out Chen Wei's orders. Human is the spirit of all living beings, GU are the essence of heaven and earth. Now that I'm cultivating personally, this phrase sounds even more profound. He is deeply immersed in the process of refining the water-cut GU, which involves replacing the Gu's own will with Chen Wei's will. Or that's what a mortal or most immortals would say, but Chen Wei, as a reader of the novel, knows that he is essentially replacing heaven's will in the GU with his own human will. Ah, heaven's will, I guess it already knows of my existence. Now I wonder if I'm here in this world so it can use me in its plans to stop a venerable, just like it did with Fang Yuan. As he rests and replenishes his primordial essence, he ponders the same question he has asked countless times over the last 10 years in this world. After 4 hours of rest, which he used to eat and tend to his basic needs as well as to rest his mind, as GU refinement is a stressful process for the GU master's mind. My primordial essence reserves have increased from 1% to 35%. At this rate, I'll have finished refining the GU in another 2 days. Honestly, he can't understand how Fang Zheng, with talent not much lower than his, could take so long to refine his GU. Of course, he could finish this process in hours if he used the primeval stones, but his grandfather forbade him from doing so, as this would be a good opportunity for him to learn the arduous task of GU refinement. At this rate, I'm almost certain I'll be the first to finish, unless, of course, someone cheats, or a rich family's child uses primeval stones without caring about their parents' orders, but that's unlikely. After concluding his thoughts, Chen Wei returns to focusing on the watercut GU. 2 days later, in the morning, Chen Wei arrives at the academy and sees that no one has refined their vital GU yet, and he was indeed the first, as he imagined he would be. Young Master Chen Wei, I imagine you're here because you've finished refining your vital GU, the leader of the guards approaches him politely. You imagined correctly. Could you inform the academy elder for me, please? Chen Wei calmly requests while waiting for the captain of the guard sent to inform the academy elder to return. Truly an impressive yet expected result, worthy of a grade A genius. Chen Wei overhears the guards commenting on the side, some with admiration and others with envy. Ah, how good it is to see you here, young Master Chen Wei. Refining a vital GU in 3 days is quite impressive. I bet your grandfather must be very proud. The academy elder greets Chen Wei enthusiastically while verifying if he indeed refined the vital GU. Although he trusts Chen Wei, he still has to do his job with no room for errors. My grandfather sends his regards to the academy elder and says he is indeed very proud. His grandfather and the elder in front of him are old acquaintances, so his grandfather has an idea of how the elder would react to the arrival of his grandson. Well, here are 20 primeval stones, no more, no less. The academy elder hands over 20 primeval stones in a pouch he prepared before coming to Chen Wei. The junior pays respects and bids farewell to the honored academy elder. Chen Wei takes his leave and returns home because he needs to refine the water-cut GU into the blood-cut GU, and the sooner he does it, the better for him. That old grumpy Chen Wang found a great successor with both innate talent and latent talent. The academy elder speaks to himself neutrally, as he does not get involved in politics and mainly focuses on developing a competent new generation for the clan. Back home, Chen Wei looks expressionlessly at 3 large vats of blood and some bloody flowers of various varieties as he begins to review the blood-cut GU refinement process again. For today, I'll just organize the materials for refinement since I'm mentally drained from refining my vital GU, and I need to rest. Chen Wei thinks as he organizes his refinement materials in one of the private refining rooms of his house. Although I requested enough materials for 5 to 6 refining attempts, it's always best to try to save as much as possible. After finishing his organization, he goes to practice using the water-cut GU. Although the GU is different, the essence of both is still the same, so training with one will help me master the other when I refine it. Chen Wei trains diligently, knowing the 3 aspects of GU cultivation: feeding, using, and refining GU. I'm training the usage now. I'll exercise refining tomorrow and feeding at regular intervals. He already knows that the blood-cut GU feeds on animal blood regardless of the race, is extremely easy to feed. After a whole afternoon of training, Chen Wei arrives extremely tired at home and goes straight to bed after taking his bath. When he wakes up, he receives the news that Xu Shang had secured the 2nd place this morning, which is not very surprising given that he has the 2nd highest innate talent among this batch of students. Although in the novel, Fang Yuan finds a way to use his knowledge and 500 years of experience to surpass the other students despite his lower talent, for us normal people, that's not possible. Chen Wei solemnly thinks, knowing that the same people who admire and praise him for being a genius could be laughing and looking down on him if he had innate talent like Fang Yuan's, as that is human nature. And now, in the lower ranks, is when innate talent makes the biggest difference, so I must make the most of it. He is determined to give his all to increase his existing advantage over the other students and never let them overcome this difference. He enters the refining room and sees that everything is the same as he left it and checks the blood again to see if there are any adulterations that could lead to the failure of the refinement. Everything is the same, but it doesn't hurt to be cautious. He takes a deep breath and relaxes his body and mind. Alright, it's time to start the refinement. Chen Wei carefully takes out his vital GU from its pouch and, with a wave of his hand, he approaches one of the blood containers and submerges himself in it. This shouldn't be too difficult since it's just a rank 1 refinement. He controls the GU to absorb about half of the blood inside the container. Chen Wei then removes the GU from the blood and tosses 3 primeval stones into it before adding the processed bloody flowers into the mix. The GU begins emitting a strong blood-red glow as it enters the crucial stage of refinement. Well, now it just depends on my luck. Fortunately, the GU succeeded on the first try. His luck wasn't so bad today. Chen Wei looks at the GU, shaped like a scarlet blood drop, feeling happiness and pride after his first successful refinement. A few days later, Chen Wei is sitting in a circle with other students while observing 2 of them engaged in physical combat with determination. Chen Wei is focused on trying to learn as much as possible regarding practical combat here at the academy. Of course, it's not like he hasn't practiced combat in the past 10 years of his life in the GU world. In fact, when he turned 11, his father began training him personally on a regular basis. But he knows he still has much to improve to be considered a master in close combat. And the best way to enhance his skills is to constantly spar with people of similar abilities. However, in the academy, those with the same combat level as him are few, mainly descendants of elders or powerful families. The fight ends with one of the youths, who seems to have a more robust physique from manual labor, winning by a narrow margin. Chen Wei, Bai Zi, both of you come to the center and fight. The combat instructor points to the middle, waiting for the 2 to comply. Chen Wei walks to the center of the ring while assessing his opponent, a skinny boy of average height who seems to be trembling with nervousness. Chen Wei, rank 1 grade A, greets my opponent. He makes the customary clan combat salute. Bai Zi, rank 1 grade D, greets my opponent. The boy speaks before quickly launching an attack, trying to catch Chen Wei off guard. Chen Wei easily dodges the clumsy punch from the boy, who obviously has little combat experience, while pretending to attempt a punch to his face. Bai Zi quickly focuses all his attention on defending his face, giving Chen Wei the opening to deliver a full-force kick to the side of his knee, causing him to lose balance and fall to the ground screaming in pain. Chen Wei doesn't give him a chance to recover and immediately moves in, raining punch after punch on his face until the instructor stops the fight and declares him the winner. Chen Wei returns to the group of students and sits back down as the instructor calls 2 other students to spar. He's disinterested in the fight as his thoughts are more on his recent practice with the blood-cut GU over the past few days. In fact, the practice he had over the past few days has given him many ideas and inspirations to develop the blood path in the future. Besides starting to gain practical experience in the blood path and its advantages like easy nourishment, low resource requirements for development and refinement, as well as incredible attacking power. And speaking of novel knowledge, most of it can't be used now. For example, despite knowing about the luck path, he has yet to see a GU from this path, despite his efforts to find them. The same goes for the wisdom path because while he managed to find various GU from this path, they always lead to endless development ahead, besides not having any wisdom path inheritance in his clan. And although he has ideas about various inheritances, they are either from the future or far from where he lives, and he lacks the strength to obtain them if they were nearby anyway. The problem ultimately lies in the lack of strength. Chen Wei sighs, knowing that until one reaches rank 8, they will never be truly strong in the GU world. And even rank 8 is only strong conditionally, assuming there's no venerable in the world, and even a venerable still has to kneel before the face of death. Fang Yuan, what would that old demon do if he were in my place? Of course, he's not a sentimental and kind person, but he thinks he would never be able to massacre his entire clan to increase his aptitude. Speaking of which, the most useful knowledge so far has been about the liquor worms since it fortunately exists in this era. In fact, without Chen Wei's knowledge, the Wine Emperor, who created the 3 sovereign 5 Emperor wines that legend says can elevate the liquor worm to rank 8, is still alive in this era. One of the few recipes he still remembers from the novel is how to advance the liquor worm from rank 1 to rank 4. In fact, Chen Wei knows his grandfather has already bought one for him and said he would receive it as a gift if he's the first to reach the middle stage of rank 1. This will definitely be one of his greatest advantages when he reaches rank 2 and refines the 4 flavors liquor worm that only he will have. In fact, he already has ideas on how to use the liquor worm to transform it into a blood path GU. It may seem like an obsession for Chen Wei to try to turn everything into a blood path, but besides trying to develop the path, there's something more: Dao marks. This is among the most important knowledge he gained from the novel, especially regarding how important they will be for immortal cultivation. And since he plans to become an immortal in the blood path and lacks the advantage Fang Yuan has of non-conflicting Dao marks, he will need a wide variety of blood path methods. Plus, in this era, nobody has means against blood path methods yet. Although it's not as great an advantage as the dream path, it's still a good advantage. And for now, Chen Wei is primarily focused on trying to modify existing GU to fit the blood path rather than trying to create a completely new GU. But regarding the liquor worm and reaching rank 1 middle stage, Chen Wei estimates it will take him at most a month to reach this stage, and considering he spends a lot of time practicing GU, it could be even faster. At this rate, he will achieve one of the goals in his long-term plan, which, if he had an A-grade aptitude, is to reach rank 2 by the end of the year. And when he gets there, that's when he can start expressing one of the main advantages of 4 flavors liquor worm, when he will cultivate much as faster as others using the liquor worm. In fact, Chen Wei hopes to have reached rank 3 in just 3 more years, still in time for the next wave of beasts from Longwushan Mountain. After a full day of fights, the academy students receive their allowances of 3 primeval stones and are sent home. Chen Wei doesn't give himself a moment of rest, and from the moment he arrives home until bedtime, he cultivates, stopping only to eat and attend to basic needs. This leaves Chen Wang, his grandfather, extremely proud, weighing how lucky the Chen family is to have such a talented and hardworking young man. Little does he know that part of his beloved grandson's plan is to take full advantage of the nourishment from the clan but abandon the clan and his family and never look back once he becomes an immortal. Well, to conclude, I'd like to inform all of you about the second academy competition. When the students were starting to prepare to leave, the academy elder announces. As you already expect, the competition will be for those who reach the rank 1 middle stage, with the first place winning 50 primeval stones. The academy elder speaks with enthusiasm, wanting to provoke the competitive spirit of the youth. But it doesn't end there. The one who achieves second place will win 25 primeval stones, and the third place will win 10. The young students converse excitedly among themselves, with great anticipation for the competition. Even those with low innate talent are determined to do their best. And to conclude, those who place first, second, and third will be rewarded with the positions of chairman and vice chairman of the class, respectively. The elder announces, which for Chen Wei and other heirs of elders throughout history, is the most important aspect of this second test. I bet young Master Chen will be first again. A boy near Chen Wei speaks, trying to gain his favor. But of course, these mere B grades will never compare to a great genius like young Master Chen. Another student around Chen Wei quickly adds, not wanting the other to outdo him in flattering Chen Wei. In no time, the 7 students around Chen Wei are praising him fervently. He's used to this because he's the grandson of an elder, so he doesn't let it inflate his ego to feel greater or more than he is. In fact, he's known these 7 since he was a child, as they are the children of GU masters who belong to his grandfather's faction. It could be said that among the responsibilities given to him by his grandfather for the academy, apart from being diligent in his cultivation and GU practice, making political connections, and arranging capable subordinates was the most important. Since the stronger someone is, the more they need to delegate their tasks to capable subordinates to do in their place. So, that's why he was given the responsibility of recruiting talented students with fervor. Of course, these 7 around him now would have joined his faction anyway, but this doesn't apply to the rest of the students. In fact, this is what he and the other heirs of elders mostly do when they're at the academy, as they've been taught this basic knowledge a long time ago. The position of chairman is extremely important for him to obtain. Actually, it's several times more valuable than the 50 primeval stones to him. You see, although he plans to leave the clan when it becomes a burden to him as an immortal, he still has many years, decades for sure, as immortal. And during this period, he plans to live in the clan using its conducive environment for cultivation to develop to rank 5 and achieve master attainment in Blood Path, as well as develop a mature combat system. And during this period, he cannot and does not plan to act like Fang Yuan, who plans to leave the clan when he reaches rank 3. Chen Wei plans not only to enter the clan system but also to use it to strengthen himself and eliminate his political enemies, reaching the position of clan leader, where he will have access to the greatest benefits. This would obviously require a coup against the current leader, since unlike the clan leader Gu, the clan leader Heian has several heirs, some of whom may even have an A grade when they awaken their aperture. After that, he plans to use his advantage to gradually create an opportunity to conquer the other 2 clans of Longwushan Mountain. Among the 2, the strongest is Clan Feng Ji, located in the eastern part of the mountain, which mainly cultivates Wind Path with its vital Gu, the Windwhip Gu. And the second and weaker of the 2 is Clan Shang Mao, located in the northern part of the mountain, which mainly cultivates Strength Path with its vital Gu, the Panda Strength Gu. Zifei and Wan Gu, please inform my colleagues that I'll be holding a training session after class, Chen Wei tells 2 of his followers as he puts his thoughts in order after his reverie. The rest, follow me now for our practice. Chen Wei stopped training in Gu usage and martial arts alone a few days ago and now does it together with his followers. This is good for both comparing his skills with others and increasing his influence, as he constantly teaches them what to do to improve and gives them tips to get better. Besides, I feel my own attainment of Gu usage increasing as a result of spending time teaching them personally, Chen Wei thinks as he sees a little over 20 students, some training, some resting to recover their primeval essence. Of course, it's not a big increase in attainment, but it still counts. Since I started cultivating, I understood how talented I am in the Blood Path. Along with applying concepts from Earth in my use of Blood Path, I feel my attainment is increasing rapidly. Despite his attainment still being at the common level, there's a difference between someone who just started cultivating in a rank 5, even if both have common attainment in the same path. One of the greatest aids for him was the scientific method, which seems not to exist in the Gu world, well, not at least in his clan from what he saw. In fact, most of the research done by people in the clan involves more superstition and trial and error, as well as trying to gain experiences through practice or knowledge from other sources or people. Very well, but you should focus more on a smooth and malleable strike rather than what you're doing now, Chen Wei tells a student who asked for tips from him. He is one of those who came willingly. Chen Wei looks at the boy who just asked him for tips and thinks since of the more than 20 students here, less than 10 came on their own will. The rest were forced by their parents to train with the heir of the most influential elder of the clan, which would be a great opportunity for their futures, especially if they managed to become friends with Chen Wei. They must resent me now that they've lost their leisure time, but I guarantee that by the end of the year, when they join a team, they'll be thanking me on their knees. Not that he cares about their gratitude or anything, but his grandfather was very clear about Chen Wei's responsibility to bring talented people to his faction. I bet when I become chairman, the number of young people will increase to between 40 or 50. Chen Wei notices that almost all the young people are men. In fact, there are only 3 girls, and they didn't even try to get close to him, but Chen Wei knows why. Being engaged is really something, Chen Wei thinks with a complicated expression since his grandfather engaged him for political reasons when he was just 10 years old. In fact, he's just waiting for his fiancée, who is 14, to reach the appropriate age for them to marry officially. Although this is the best political decision on the part of my grandfather, which will allow me great help for my future plans, I still don't like having my life determined by others. Chen Wei cut off these thoughts from his head as he continues to train in combat with the other students. After a whole day of training, Chen Wei arrives home and enters his private experimental room while he starts using the scientific method to research and explore more about the blood path. Welcome to Fanfic Audiobook, your go-to place for immersive audiobooks. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. Chen Wei is in his room in a meditative state as he evaluates his own aperture with a deep and thoughtful look. Pale green primeval essence, the sensation of cultivation is truly magnificent, he thinks to himself after advancing to the rank 1 middle stage following an exhaustive cultivation session. It actually took less time than I expected. It's been a week and a half since the Academy Elder made his announcement, and Chen Wei has already reached the middle stage. Let's test something first, he thinks to himself before getting up, going to the window of his room, and activating the blood cut GU, using it a few times. The attack and speed are higher, as well as the range, and now it only consumes 7.5% of primeval essence. Chen Wei knew this would be the result, but he still wanted to experience it firsthand to draw his own conclusions. With each small realm, the quality of primeval essence doubles, as does the power of the GU used, but the GU itself doesn't double in power. He spends the whole night developing theories on why this happens while conducting tests to reach his conclusions. After all, I'm almost certain it comes down to Dao marks, but which path do they belong to? Blood path. Well, he would need to use a GU from another path to verify this, but there's no time now, as he had to notify the Academy Elder of his achievement first thing in the morning. Ah, young Master Chen Wei, it's a pleasure to see you again. Would I be right in guessing that you're here to notify the Elder of your success in the competition once again? The same leader of the Academy Guards who greeted him last time comes to speak with him. Indeed, I just reached the rank 1 middle stage last night, Chen Wei responds, observing the Academy Elder arriving along with a guard who had informed him of Chen Wei's arrival. Ah, young Chen Wei, this result is impressive. Few can reach the middle stage before a month of cultivation. The Academy Elder praises him fervently while politely checking his aperture to confirm the result. Well, everything is correct as I expected. While I can't notify you in advance that you will be chosen as chairman, you are a stronger candidate, that much I can tell you. The Academy Elder hands him the 50 primeval stones while chatting with Chen Wei before politely taking his leave, as the Elder of the Academy clan is a busy man. Now it's time to see the power of this beauty, Chen Wei says, looking at the liquor worm he received from his grandfather, who spent the entire morning with a wide smile on his face due to his grandson's exceptional result. Chen Wei begins using the liquor worm to convert his primeval essence from the characteristic pale green of the middle stage to the dark green of the upper stage. Let's try using GU again. He begins testing the blood cut GU once more, each use now costing only 3.75% of primeval essence, and the overall power increasing again. This definitely involves Dao marks, but which path? Perhaps heaven path. He considers the idea but quickly dismisses it. He knows how special and difficult to cultivate that path is, as throughout human history, only 3 venerables have been able cultivated it, and 2 of them aren't even born yet. More important than that now, I have to spend my time preparing for refining. Chen Wei speaks to himself while beginning to review the plan to refine 3 GU he has in mind to complement his combat system. They will be based on the Strength Path Rabbit Rush GU, Water Path Water Armor GU, and Water Path Water Leak GU. For now, that's it, but I still have to refine more GU when I reach the peak stage. Chen Wei sends one of his servants to the market to buy these GU on his behalf, even though he's nowhere near having the money to buy these 3 GU. His grandfather is willing to pay for them gladly to further his grandson's development. Typically, GU masters at his level wouldn't be able to refine and maintain so many GU, but he's different, as he has the support of his grandfather, who, while not directly aiding him in refining and cultivation, is more than willing to provide ample resources to further his development. Another important part is a characteristic of the blood path being one of the easiest paths to feed GU, with most blood path GU only needing blood as food, which is neither expensive nor difficult to obtain. Although some people started spreading bad rumors about the Chen family's servants constantly bringing blood from animals for their young master, but after a bit of clarification from his grandfather, it didn't lead to anything. After all, blood path hasn't emerged yet, let alone being treated as one of the worst demonic paths by people. While waiting for the servant to return, Chen Wei organizes the various gallons of blood from different animals with different qualities, as well as the bloody plants, making full use of his knowledge of the blood path, which is increasing at an incredible rate, with him even learning to differentiate blood from different species just by smell, taste, and texture. My knowledge of biology regarding blood types and how blood is composed of plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, etc., is really helping me in my cultivation and attainment in the blood path, Chen Wei has been constantly using his knowledge of biology from Earth to help him in his GU cultivation, as well as constantly using the scientific method to conduct his cultivation experiments. When the servant arrives at his house with the GU he requested, Chen Wei quickly takes them and enters his private refining room for a long refining session. He starts using the water armor as a base to refine the blood armor, which he created to be his main defensive method for now. This GU has actually been part of his plans for a long time since, after the question of attack, Chen Wei prioritizes his defensive capability the most. So it was the first GU he decided to refine, as it's always good to prioritize a balanced combat means, and what he lacks the most right now is a defensive method. Thus, after failing once due to bad luck, he manages to refine the blood armor GU. After a day of rest, which he used to analyze and make deductions based on his second GU refining experience, he prepares for his third GU refining. Now he will use the Strength Path Rabbit Rush, which allows him to obtain the speed of a wild rabbit, to refine the Blood Rush GU, which allows him to use his own blood flow to gain a similar effect to using an anabolic. In concept, it's using the blood from his body to increase his speed of movement and reflexes, and it's even better than the Rabbit Rush, but it has the disadvantage of having to use primeval essence, although it's not much compared to its strong effect. The biggest disadvantage, in fact, is that prolonged use of the GU can cause a rupture of his veins as well as considerable internal bleeding. But as long as he takes precautions and uses the GU prudently and carefully, this disadvantage won't happen. So after one attempt, he manages to refine it as well. This time, he feels even more ease in refining it, clearly seeing how much his skill is increasing. And even if he didn't notice the various praises about how he was improving very quickly and how talented he was that came from his grandfather, who watched the process from afar to ensure his safety, they would have reminded him of his talent. After another day of rest and reflection on his experiences, finally, he will refine another attack GU. Of course, when he said this, his grandfather didn't understand him at first since the water leak GU was a support GU used to help with irrigation in agriculture and was never treated as a combat GU by anyone. But after hearing Chen Wei's explanation, his grandfather's eyes lit up with understanding as he began to have a different look at this blood path that his grandson wants to create so much. Well, this GU will be quite important for my future combat system. I will call it the Bleeding GU, he says proudly with his phenomenal naming ability. Basically, it uses the concept of the water leak GU to make the water leak much faster to increase the bleeding of the target of the attack. This may not seem like much or seem weak, but the capacity of this GU is actually very high. For example, Chen Wei speculates that if a rank 1 GU master with a deep cut on their hand were to suffer the attack of this GU, they would take at most an hour to die from bleeding even using healing methods. The most terrifying thing about this GU is that there is no effective method to combat it using the same rank. Of course, a rank 4 could deal with it just using their superior quality, but if they were at the same level, there wouldn't be a way for that rank 4 to handle it. So after 2 attempts, Chen Wei successfully refines the GU despite a failure due to bad luck. After that, Chen Wei finally finishes his 5 days of refining isolated from the world and emerges as a much stronger GU master. 2 weeks have passed since Chen Wei refined his 3 new GU, which will be his foundation for now at rank 1 and the beginning of rank 2. During this period, other students managed to reach the middle stage, with the second to arrive being Xu Shang, who was also the second to refine his vital GU in the previous competition. But surprisingly to everyone, the third was Jin Gu, the boy from a mortal family who presented a middle stage aperture mere hours before Lu Jiao arrived, and Suo came in fifth. Of course, during these weeks, he didn't stand still. Even though his cultivation to reach the upper stage is progressing slowly, it's because he's spending most of his time practicing GU. You see, even if someone has high cultivation, if they have little combat experience, they will definitely be at a great disadvantage against enemies of the same rank. Besides, in the GU world, there is formidable enemies who will bother to learn everything about you to kill you, not letting any mistake go unnoticed. And Chen Wei has no doubt that he has a big target on his head, being an A-grade talent, the son of a renowned GU master, and the grandson of a clan elder. This becomes an even bigger problem when the other 2 clans that share the mountain with the Heian clan are informally allied to resist the advances of the latter. Because of this, every time he leaves the clan to practice killing wild animals, he is accompanied by a guard who watches him closely. After putting his new combat system into practice, he quickly realized how effective it was, although he still lacks healing and investigative methods. He already plans his refinement when he reaches the peak stage. Of course, when spending his time at the academy, it was spent with Chen Wei making political connections or spending time reviewing and adjusting his plans. This blood-cut GU is quite formidable. It's no surprise that grandfather allowed you to continue creating GU of this type, Chen Ming, his older brother, tells him while evaluating the GU created by Chen Wei. This is its first level. I am now studying possible routes for future development, Chen Wei says while noting all the opinions his brother gives him about the GU and what he thinks could be improved. Rank 2. Haven't you already created more than 10 recipes for blood-related GU, and the best part is that they really work. Honestly, I agree with our grandfather that you are a genius, but don't you think rank 2 is already too much? He speaks with genuine concern, not wanting to see his brother waste his precious time trying to do something that is too complicated even for their grandfather, who is at rank 3. Well, I know it's going to be difficult, but advancing the blood path forward has become my obsession. This is partly true and partly a lie, but at this point, he has already realized his gigantic talent for the blood path and also for refining. You know, normally what he did now, creating several GU of a completely new path in such a short period of time, should not be possible for ordinary people. But for him, it was a minor inconvenience, which made Chen Wei start to question why, since he is fully aware that this is venerable level talent. But he also knows that he is not Giant Sun, who created the blood path and is fated to become venerable. So recently he is developing the theory that he could be a Dao Guardian since it was never revealed what Giant Sun's Dao Guardian would be. You are completely aware that creating a path is the kind of thing that only one of these legendary immortals could do, right? His brother's question brings Chen Wei out of his reverie about why he has such great talent. I believe so, but still I will try even if I fail I want to try. After thinking for a moment, he knows how big of a challenge this will be, but in truth it only fuels his desire to move forward with Blood Path. Oh, and also, if possible, could you tell me how things are in the war against the other two clans? Chen Wei asks to know how things are actually going from a combatant, not one of the clan's propagandists who only give good news. Things are complicated. Although our clan is still in the lead, I don't know how long it will last, especially with the decreasing number of GU masters able to fight. Chen Ming speaks with a hollow look and a cautious voice. You can see the effect of the war on him, especially due to the loss of close allies and friends. But the other two clans aren't in a much better situation, especially the Xiangmao clan, which may not be able to resist the next beast tide. Chen Wei can see the excitement on his brother's face in imagining the enemy who has killed several of his companions exterminated completely. It's really a different reality from the glorious war defending the clan's honor that the propagandists paint. Despite knowing this for a long time since he constantly seeks information about the war with his father, brother, and grandfather, he still feels a certain discouragement with the difference between the propaganda and the reality of the war. Which actually started when the two clans joined forces and tried to assassinate the eldest leader of the Heian clan 7 years ago. Which from their point of view was the wisest thing to do since the strongest clan among the three with a rank 4 veteran and a newly advanced rank 4 at the time would only be a matter of time until they were conquered if they did not unite and attack together at the opportune moment. And since then, the three clans have been in a 1v2 war that has caused immense death and destruction on both sides. This is one of the reasons the Academy places so much emphasis on hand-to-hand combat, and the students are so willing to learn everything because of the incessant need for warriors to die in the war that no one knows when it will end. Do you still plan to develop these blood GU to become a main weapon of our clan for the war? He asks Chen Wei since he is very impressed with the strength of the GU, and the best part is its easy refinement and nourishment since what is not currently lacking for any clan is blood. I've already talked about it with our father and grandfather. They told me that if I can develop these GU to rank 2 and they are satisfactory for them, they will start implementing them. Chen Wei wants to popularize the blood path within the clan so that he has the help of several people contributing to his development. Besides, he can take inspiration from the combat experience of others using the GU he created. Of course, he also wants to help his clan so that they can win the war, since although he plans to leave the clan when he becomes an immortal, it's not because he has anything against the clan or likes to be solitary, but a great precaution he carries with him at all times of his life. In principle, a precaution of heavens will using his relatives against him if he puts them in his immortal aperture and brings them along with him to wander the southern border as a lonely immortal. This fear is not unfounded since he does not have a clear idea of what heaven's will's opinion is about him. Although until now he has not faced great difficulties, he is always cautious, especially with his clan at war with 2 other clans and he being a major target for assassination. Looking from the colder and more logical side, he should do as Fang Yuan and massacre his clan to avoid possible loose ends that can cause problems for him in the future, but he knows clearly that although he is not a saint, he is still not such a demon to do such an act. The casualties of the last quarter have indeed seen a significant increase, Chen Wang said impassively as he held the information scroll in his hand. Well, there's not much we can do, the other 2 clans are trying to incapacitate us with all their might. Chen Liang, a man with a rigid appearance conveying the aura of a veteran, spoke to Chen Wang, who had a stern and irritated expression as he looked at him. Father, besides, you know that the new guerrilla tactics they're implementing are extremely effective. The man speaking to Chen Wang was his son and Chen Wei's father, one of the logistics leads of the clan concerning the war, Chen Liang. These cowardly bastards, instead of fighting like men, set traps focused on causing debilitating injuries to young GU masters. Chen Wang spoke with burning anger in his eyes, but he knew this was the smartest tactic, and he would do the same in their place, perhaps even worse. Of last year's students, 1 in every 10 is incapacitated, with a missing arm or leg, or their cultivation potential injured. As he said this, Chen Liang looked at his own missing right arm while thinking about his talent, which was now barely C grade. Despite this, nobody who knows him or sees him feels a sense of melancholy or pity for himself. All they see is a man determined to serve the clan to the best of his ability despite his injuries. And with each passing year, this rate increases. In fact, of the generation from the academy 7 years ago, when the war began, only 6 out of 10 are still fit for combat. At this point, most veteran GU masters on both sides want to end the war, but neither side wants to give in. Changing the subject, Little Wei came to present this GU to me. What do you think of it? He handed Chen Liang a GU that looked like a miniature scarlet flower. He named it Blood Transfusion GU and told me that it can potentially advance for both attack and healing purposes simultaneously. Chen Liang took the GU and began to evaluate it, pondering the impressive potential this GU must have for his father to bring it up in the middle of this important discussion. Both healing and attacking at the same time. What kind of GU would have 2 effects? This would be the first of its kind that I've seen or heard of. Chen Liang looked at the GU in his hand with shock on his face. He didn't doubt the truth of the information, as Chen Wang was not one to joke around. Of course, it doesn't have 2 effects, that would be impossible. But it has one that can accomplish both. Chen Wang clarified what he meant by both attack and defense, and began to explain the GU's effect. From what Little Wei explained to me and from my own experiences testing the GU, it can transfer blood from one person to another while healing the recipient. However, the one donating the blood weakens, possibly even dying. Chen Liang looked at the GU with admiration, pondering how useful it could be for the clan's healing power as a whole, given the many prisoners of war they could use as walking blood bags. There's just one problem. It doesn't have a constant effect. In most cases, it causes damage to both GU masters involved, rather than just the one whose blood is drained. Chen Wang sighed, as without this flaw, this would be an extremely useful GU for war, especially considering its excellent healing effect, easy refinement, and low primeval essence consumption. Little Wei is currently conducting tests using prisoners under my orders, and he told me he thinks it has something to do with blood type, although I'm not sure what that means. Chen Wang spoke calmly as he continued to analyze the war casualty data and imagined how much smaller they would be with this GU in use. Using prisoners. You sent my 15-year-old son to conduct experiments using prisoners of war. Chen Liang shouted angrily as he looked at his father. Despite appearing as a good old man now, he knows the kind of cruelty this man is capable of. Don't raise your voice with me, boy, or I'll teach you a lesson just like when you were young. Besides, I only suggested it. It was Chen Wei who agreed without hesitation. he spoke, looking at Chen Liang with a cold gaze, not caring about his son's opinion. I've told you before that if you treat one of my children like you did to me and my brothers, I would personally make you regret it, so don't even think about it. He threatened his father with apparent anger, as despite mostly focusing on his responsibilities and showing respect towards Chen Wang, he harbors deep resentment against him. Chen Liang is reminded of his childhood, which was spent mostly being forced to train by his father while suffering from lack of affection and recognition. But this wouldn't be much, as many people go through the same, but the worst was when, after becoming GU masters, their father, to create GU masters prepared to kill for the clan, forced them to cold-bloodedly kill an innocent mortal. Each one of his sons had to do it. The tearful and pleading eyes of those mortals haunt him to this day, and it doesn't stop there. When he's starting to remember more of his father's cruel treatments, he is taken out of his thoughts by his father's voice. Calm down, I won't do that to the boy, and you must have noticed by now that he has a killer instinct in his eyes. Chen Wang spoke as he tried to calm the tense atmosphere, but he didn't do a good job of it. Chen Liang looks at him with hostility, but at the same time, he knows what his father is saying is right, as he also has the same feeling when he sees his son, and this feeling has been there since he was a child. And his son's latest creations in the blood path only confirm this thought, as having the idea of a healing GU that is basically an attack at the same time, as it heals by stealing vitality from others. In addition to this blood path he's trying to create having a clear killing inclination, even though this GU hasn't shown itself in his hand yet, it's already the beginning. While the two are in a moment of tension, Chen Wei is in one of the clan's dungeons with a smile that given the situation he's in seems to be macabre. In the dungeon where he is, there are 6 GU master prisoners of war from the clan, as well as various carcasses of animals like rats, cats, and dogs scattered throughout the room. So my theory proves correct. Blood transfusion follows the same logic as in my world and requires compatibility. Chen Wei has an excited look as he sees the prisoners writhing in pain on the floor as a result of the experiments he conducted. Unfortunately, it's not possible to do transfusions between different species. I wonder if the same goes for variant humans. Although he wants to test this, he can't since all the variant human slaves of the clan have already died, as they were the first flesh shields in the war, and the caravans no longer come to sell on the mountain because of the war as well. This girl was very useful in proving my theory. She probably has O-negative blood like mine, so that ensures it's a matter of blood type. Chen Wei looks at the prisoners with a complicated look because despite feeling sorry for them, he still thinks it's necessary to save more lives from his own clan. Now, how do I solve this problem? Perhaps a GU that can determine blood type, but that would only avoid the problem, not solve it. Chen Wei starts his experiments again because he is really focused on making this GU of his work as quickly as possible. But even trying his best, he still fails several times and doesn't see an effective way to solve the problem, so he has to be content with trying to develop a GU that determines people's blood types. And that's how the clan's last great leader came to power. The elder of the academy lectures on the clan's history to the students. Chen Wei wears an interested expression as he watches the class from the front row, but inwardly, he's more focused on his own advancements in cultivation than this boring lecture. It's been 2.5 months since he started experimenting with human test subjects, and during this time, he divided his attention between practicing martial arts, cultivating, and understanding the blood path. As a result of his cultivation, he is now in the upper stage of rank 1, also being the first among the academy's students to reach this cultivation realm. In terms of combat abilities, he has realized through training with other students, a frequent practice at the academy, that there is no one comparable to him in combat prowess among the students. Although Chen Wei has seen considerable talent in some of the students, promptly attracting them to his sphere of influence before recruiting them, his greatest creation during this period comes from his research on the blood path. And it is, of course, from his research on the blood path that he has perfected a GU he had previously developed but had not yet disclosed. This GU is the Bleeding Eyes GU, which allows the user to see any blood within a certain radius. This is an extremely potent GU for detecting human or animal enemies since there is nothing they can do to hide the blood in their bodies from this GU, making it an excellent GU for avoiding ambushes. In fact, after he presented this GU to his grandfather, he was even more ecstatic than when he saw the blood transfusion GU. In fact, on the same day that his grandfather received the GU, he presented it to the clan leader as the new ingenious creation of his grandson. After discovering the power of the GU, the clan leader and the elders who were called to see the GU were immediately ecstatic before causing an uproar and excitement. In fact, Chen Wei's contribution was so significant that he was called to an honor ceremony by the clan leader himself, who personally gave him his commendations. Who would have thought that this GU would cause such a stir? But after my grandfather showed me how many casualties we have from ambushes, it makes sense. Chen Wei discovered from his grandfather why he was so enthusiastic. He learned that at least 70% of the casualties to the clan's GU masters were inflicted during ambushes. Of course, Chen Wei couldn't care less about the honors he is receiving now or his good reputation, which is now spreading among all the elders who are still the only ones who know about the GU. But the main reason for his excitement is that from now on, the clan leader and the various elders are beginning to actively encourage blood paths since it has proven extremely useful to the clan in this time of need. I wonder what kind of effect I can achieve when blood path reaches the higher ranks of the mortal world. He looks around the room, but he only sees people in the form of blood. He doesn't see their clothes, hair, or skin, he only sees the blood within their bodies. The only problem is that I can't see through a thick object like the wall, but I'm sure I can solve that in rank 2. He is still lost in deep thoughts as he makes his way from the academy to his home, where he needs to get ready for his honor ceremony. Ah, grandfather really nagged me to talk to that girl and get close to her. He sighs in disgust as he thinks about the girl he's engaged to, whom he's sure will be here for the ceremony. It's not like she's ugly or has a bad personality, although she's a bit arrogant, but anyone would be in her position. Chen Wei can't say why, but he always felt a strange sensation when he had to interact with the girl. Maybe it's because I still feel deep down resentful for being forced to marry someone I didn't choose. He thinks about it for a moment but quickly dismisses the idea since he's perfectly willing to marry a beautiful girl like her, even if he didn't make the decision about the marriage. When he arrives at the main mansion of the clan, he is led by his grandfather where he receives an award personally given by the old clan leader, who made a point of leaving his rest to give him the honor personally. Then, after what seemed like hours of unnecessary ceremonial and politicking among him and other heirs of elders, as well as personally greeting each elder of the clan, Chen Wei looks at the last one missing, who is beside his daughter, aka Chen Wei's wife. I pay my respects to the honorable current clan leader Wang Shi. I greet my beloved wife Wang Mei. It is truly a pleasure to see her in such a beautiful dress. He makes a polite greeting as he greets the two, followed by his grandfather who was beside him doing the same. Despite the words that can be described as loving from Chen Wei, counting on this one, you can count on one hand the times he has seen her personally. I greet my esteemed son-in-law, who is not only an A-grade talent but also a genius in refining and creating new GU. He greets Chen Wei with joy, showing his good opinion about Chen Wei, but Chen Wei knows clearly that this is an act since the clan leader doesn't like him. But who can judge the man? He was practically forced by his grandfather to marry his beloved daughter with Chen Wei since the leader's family owed a great favor to Chen Wei's family since if it weren't for his father Chen Liang, the old clan leader wouldn't even be alive. I greet my heroic and honorable husband. Wang Mei speaks while blushing a little with embarrassment, besides her speaking in a kind of awkward way, and although Chen Wei believes it's an act on her part, he can't help but be moved by such words from such a cute girl. Wang Mei is what people describe as a natural beauty with her long black hair, skin as white as jade, and a face that can make boys fall in love with a glance, and a short stature that gives her an air of cuteness. May I take my wife's hand for a more private conversation? Chen Wei speaks feeling like an idiot for the stupid way you have to speak at this kind of event. The clan leader agrees, although he doesn't like the fact that they are engaged, but now that he can't do anything to change that, he at least wants the two to get along well before they have to consummate the marriage. While Chen Wei takes Wang Mei's hand and leads her to a more private place to talk, he would have the biggest shock of his life if he knew what was going through her mind. These customs of ancient China are really peculiar. This fiancé of mine is well behaved for what I would expect from one of those spoiled young masters. The soul now inhabiting this body is no longer Wang Mei as everyone knows her but rather a transmigrator from Earth who ended up in this world a month ago. Well, I really hope I'm not like those book heroines who reincarnate as a villainess or something, she thinks as she struggles to maintain a conversation with Chen Wei. as she has just transmigrated to the world of GU. And although she has Wang Mei's memories, she doesn't know very well how to behave, but she's grateful that at least old Wang Mei wasn't close to this boy she's engaged to. So be it. If I'm hindered by the heroine, if there is one, I will use my knowledge of a more civilized world with technology in this fantasy world to overcome this bunch of people who are still in the Middle Ages both socially and technologically. She thinks as she increases her will, feeling special by the fact that she is a transmigrator from another world. While the two of them go to a calmer and more solitary place, Chen Wei is actually quite nervous, not because he has to talk to a beautiful girl, but rather because of the identity of this beautiful girl. Since family relations are very important in the clan system, he is sure that he will have to use his position of being married to Wang Mei to justify his future coup against the clan leader. And considering the clan leader's opinion of him, Chen Wei thinks that his wife's opinion of him is even worse, which he would be right to imagine if this were the old Wang Mei, but the girl from another world in her body is now extremely dazzled with her situation, which he only saw in books or movies. It must really be amazing, right? A ceremony where the most important people of the clan are honoring you. Chen Wei is brought out of his thoughts by Wang Mei's words. Well, a bit, but you know how it is for us children of important figures in the clan. Even if we do the most mundane of things, there will be someone to applaud. He is careful as he speaks to Wang Mei since he is still testing her opinion of him. Yeah, I know how it is. Although she has been in this world for just under a month, she hasn't had many interactions with people outside her family. Still, my father said you are very talented at creating, GU worms. She tries to keep the conversation away from the old Wang Mei or what it's like to be a daughter of the clan leader to avoid making too many mistakes. But it's not as if Chen Wei hasn't noticed her nervousness and her constant blushing, but he attributes this to her being a 14-year-old girl on what would be equivalent to a date with her future husband. Well, she's acting quite awkwardly, but it makes sense since we live in a society with feudal values. I might even be the first boy her age she's been this close to. Chen Wei doesn't consider the possibility of her being another worldly demon like him, but no one would come to that conclusion just because someone is acting a bit strange. So, the two of them talk for a while, getting to know each other better and also reducing the awkwardness between them. At the end of the ceremony when he's saying goodbye to both her and her father as his family is leaving, Chen Wei politely bids farewell to both, but he notices that Wang Mei is extremely flushed as she tries to pretend not to look at him. The clan leader's daughter seems to have really taken a liking to my grandson. She couldn't take her eyes off you after you two returned. Chen Wang teases his grandson a bit, noticing how much the girl was blushing while looking at Chen Wei discreetly as they were leaving. Well, we both had a good time together. Besides, it was at your suggestion that I'm trying to get closer to the clan leader's daughter. His grandfather nods in agreement as he begins to give Chen Wei tips on how to approach the girl since for him this will be an important part of putting his grandson in power in the future. I really have a good grandson. I'm sure he will be a great leader when he comes to power. Maybe he can even become a rank 5 and be in the same place as the great leaders of the clan. Although coming to power through a coup may have a negative effect on a leader's reputation and control over the clan, in the past two great leaders came to power this way. In the end, in this world, despite everyone in the clan declaring justice and integrity, in the end, what matters is power. Chen Wang recalls when he was young and the deplorable state of the Chen family because of his father's incompetence and mistakes, who was a weak leader for the family that at the time almost collapsed if not for Chen Wang saving it. I swore that my family would never be in such misery again, and now after just 50 years, look at everything I've achieved. The Chen family is the richest in the clan after the clan leader's family, besides having the most politically influential faction, so influential that he managed to use a life debt that the former clan leader had to arrange a marriage between the two families. Which, through a mixture of luck, skill, and dedication, culminated in his extremely talented and willing to fight for his family grandson being married to the innocent and easily impressed daughter of the clan leader. Honestly, if his plans succeed, he will be able to make a family that was almost collapsing 3 generations ago become the most powerful in the clan with his grandson as the leader of the clan who may even reach rank 5 in the future. After leaving the ceremony, Chen Wei spends the night taking into account the events of today to adjust his plans to reach the position of clan leader. Meanwhile in the clan leader's house, Wang Mei lies in her bed covering her face with embarrassment. Seriously, love at first sight. Well, It doesn't surprise me since young Master Chen Wei is really handsome, besides being one of the greatest talents the clan has produced and, of course, being the grandson of a clan elder, Lian Zi, her personal maid, and the person Wang Mei has gotten closest to since transmigrating to this world, say teasing her. But what kind of idea was that about starting to talk about GU worms on a date? Lian Zi has to quickly dodge a pillow that came flying towards her face. Shut up, I was nervous, okay. I'm not used to talking to boys, especially one so handsome. She starts blushing again when she realizes what she's saying and hides her face in the blankets. I'm sorry, young miss, I was just very surprised to see you, who have always been cold and distant, acting like this towards a boy, although it seems a bit strange for a servant to act like this towards the clan leader's daughter. They've been childhood friends, so they already have this kind of deep intimacy. Lian Zi, do you think he liked me too? She asks, wanting to hear an answer that confirms her feelings. Oh, despite your somewhat awkward conversation, only a fool wouldn't fall in love with you, young miss. She speaks with certainty since she truly believes in what she said, since Wang Mei is a beautiful girl who has already stolen the hearts of many young boys in the past just with a smile. While the two girls are discussing Wang Mei's feelings, they don't even know that the boy they're talking about is planning how to emotionally manipulate her to gain a better political and strategic position for the future coup against Wang Mei's father. Things are going according to plan so far, actually, even easier since this girl has a personality quite different from what I was told, but he doesn't attribute this to her being a transmigrator now but rather to her maintaining a cold and distant facade when acting as the clan leader's daughter, but what she showed today with him is her true personality. Chen Wei flips through the Legends of Ren Zhu carelessly since he has read and reread this book, which is like the Bible to the people of this world, countless times. Human path. It's a pity that it can't be really developed before Fate GU is destroyed, otherwise, it would have been my first choice. Chen Wei looks up at the heavens in deep thought as he reconciles his knowledge of the novel with life in this world. Even though you were up there, despising us mere mortals, I swear that by hindering my path forward, I will continue to attack you until one day one of us falls. He speaks with deep hatred against the heavens since gradually his feelings of fear and apprehension have changed to hatred and anger against something that wants to control his life and dictate it for himself. Ah, that necklace is so cute. Wang Mei points to one of the necklaces on display in one of the shops and then looks at Chen Wei with an innocent look but says nothing. Chen quickly picks up on the rather obvious hint and buys the necklace for 5 primeval stones for her, putting it around her neck gently. Thank you, Chen Wei, I love it. She hugs his arm tightly, blushing as they continue walking through the clan's commercial area. That's great, you like it, Mayor, it looks beautiful on you. Chen Wei is directly putting his plans to approach Wang Mei into practice with great success. Well, how he went from basically not knowing the girl to now being on a romantic date with her, and this is not the first of these dates. Let's start a month ago, the day after he received the clan's honors. He went to the market to buy a GU he needed for a test and, coincidentally, ran into Wang Mei with her personal servant. Of course, there are no coincidences, and the only reason he went to buy the GU personally was to meet her. Seizing the opportunity and aware that the girl is already harboring feelings for him, Chen Wei starts a quick conversation to deepen his relationship with her, but what was supposed to be just a quick conversation ended with the two spending the entire afternoon together. And during that month, these coincidences began to happen a little more, always leading him to end up meeting her. Of course, after a while, he started inviting her to go on dates since these coincidences happened so often it would be suspicious, besides being a complicated job for him to set them up. At this point, Chen Wei could already see that the girl who was already in love at first sight before was now completely in love with him. But the same was happening to him, gradually developing feelings for her, although they are too weak for him to notice now. Well, it all culminated on a day when they ended up staying together until nightfall, watching the stars and talking, and one thing led to another, and they kissed. A lot. If it weren't for her stopping herself and him, he wouldn't have stopped there. It's not like he's like Fang Yuan, an old demon who would easily ignore his emotions in pursuit of eternal life. Before coming to the world GU, he was just a normal 20-year-old guy. Although he has a clear mind and goals, he almost failed his plan because of carnal desires. This world he is in has a quite conservative culture. If they really had gone through with this act, he would have to face great consequences, since he was reprimanded by his grandfather for the kiss that he found out probably because of his spies. Ah, I almost made a big mistake. Chen Wei feels heavy-hearted when he remembers the events of that day that he is sure almost ended in disaster. Meanwhile, unaware of any of Chen Wei's thoughts, Wang Mei is hugging his arm tightly with a happy smile on her face. For her, these last 2 months have been fantastic since she transmigrated to this world, where supernatural powers exist, and not only that, but she is also experiencing the kind of romance she has only seen in books. In her original world, she was quite lonely, spending most of her youth studying, and when she came of age, she started studying psychology at college, so she had to study even more, but she could never finish college since she got transmigrated to this world. So it's easy to assume that this is her first time in a relationship, and it's with a talented young master who is engaged to her for political reasons. In fact, she's still a little afraid that he might be pretending to love her. Chen Wei, let's go to that restaurant. I heard they're one of the best in the clan, she suggests, while Chen Wei starts envying her ignorance since he really wished he weren't as stressed about Heaven's Will's possible plans as he is. But after finishing eating at the restaurant, they have to part ways since Wang Mei has her own responsibilities as the leader's daughter, and Chen Wei promised himself not to let anything delay his cultivation and research on the blood path, which unexpectedly is progressing faster now. During this month, he created the Bloody Feeling GU, which allows sending the enemy into a frenzy where they lose control of their emotions and start attacking both allies and enemies. There's also the Blood Storage GU, which is self-explanatory, and then there are others like Blood Arrow, Blood Shield, Trace of Blood, Hot Blood, Bleeding Stop, and various others that he created using other GU as a base along with suggestions from various people who started using Blood Path GU. But it's still nothing compared to the creation of the Blood Creature, which is not a GU but a Blood Path animal that he artificially developed. In fact, when he achieved this feat, he shouted with more happiness than a guy seeing his team win the World Cup. This little creature is interesting. It has the strength of a rank 1 initial stage but can strengthen itself up a little, Chen Wang says while playing with one of these blood creatures created by Chen Wei. The best part is that they can quickly reproduce and heal themselves using blood. Unfortunately, they die of old age in just a few hours, Chen Wei says while continuing to use his grandfather's help to conduct experiments. Also, there's the problem of not distinguishing between friend and foe, attacking indiscriminately. Chen Wei picks up the body of another dead rat and starts using blood path methods to create another creature and make the two fight. I can already imagine the military potential of these creatures. If they advance to rank 2, it would be like an unstoppable army that gets stronger the more people die by its hands. Chen Wei was inspired both by the future blood path he saw in the novel and by soul path created by the Venerable with the greatest murderous intent. In fact, he's even surprised that spectral soul doesn't cultivate the blood path as well since it's very similar to the soul path. It would be almost like an artificial beast tide, maybe even more devastating for a clan, Chen Wang says with concern, as the creature doesn't differentiate between friend and foe. If it were to escape from this dungeon, it would probably cause great trouble for the clan. Well, this little guy can't do much damage since he barely has the strength to kill a rat even after reaching his strongest stage. Chen Wei kills one of them with a grip of his hand, causing it to shatter into a pool of blood, which the other quickly takes while increasing in size. Besides, although it can reproduce rapidly using blood, after creating another, they immediately fight, thus unable to increase their numbers naturally. Chen Wei sighs in disappointment, but he knows this is just the beginning because when he perfects this beast and uses it for war, he may shock the entire mortal world of the southern border and perhaps even the immortal in the distant future. Well, changing the subject, I saw that you've gotten quite close to the leader's daughter. I warn you to be careful with your own emotions, my grandson, sometimes they can put you in a horrible situation. Chen Wei listens and is sure that his grandfather has spies following him, just as the clan leader must as well. I know, grandfather, the last time was an accident. I assure you I have my emotions under control now. Although Chen Wei is not giant son who can't resist seeing a woman without wanting to sleep with her, but he is also not a celibate Buddhist monk. Of course, he can end up making mistakes because of his lust. I know you do now, but it's always better for me to make sure, right? Chen Wang is a little worried that his grandson will start developing feelings for Wang Mei and that these feelings go against his judgment. Although this is a possible problem, it is not at all big compared to my biggest concern. Chen Wei looks to the sky and feels a look of contempt being sent back to him. All this good luck I've had so far, I don't even want to imagine the kind of hell I'll have to go through in the war to balance it. This is the greatest advantage he has for having read the novel, since he is probably one of the living people with the greatest understanding of how this world works. I understand, grandfather. And I'll ensure you again that the family's interests come first. He lied because for him, what comes first are his own benefits, of course. Chen Wei looks at the walls of his aperture, indicating that he has reached rank 1 peak stage. It only took 8 months, and now I have only 2 months left before the final competition at the academy. Unlike the Guu clan, which is relatively peaceful, in the Heian clan academy, small-scale championships and duels using Gu are common and recurring for training the students who will be prepared for war. From what I've seen, the war situation has calmed down in the last few months now that the Bleeding Eyes Gu is being used extensively. The number of ambushes has dropped to almost 0. The effect was so significant that the other 2 clans stopped their ambushes and are only defending themselves while trying to develop a method that can bypass the Bleeding Eyes Gu detection. But they are failing miserably, as they don't have any specialists in Blood Path. But I don't think this will last for more than a year, as they also have talented individuals in their clans. But this year is crucial because it could give the Heian clan ample time to recover, prepare, and develop Blood Path without hindrances. But perhaps it's just my own paranoia, but I think this is the calm before the storm. This concern is not his alone. In fact, most powerful people in the clan have similar thoughts and are preparing for total war. And with war comes opportunity and technological development, as evidenced by the First and Second World Wars on Earth, where most of the technologies of the current era were created for military purposes. This is truly the best opportunity for Blood Path development. It's a pity my attainment isn't greater, otherwise, it could cause an even bigger stir. During this period when Gu masters are preparing for war, the Blood Path, which has great attacking power and low feeding costs, is becoming very popular among the rank 1 Gu masters, who are the majority in the clan. In fact, he even developed a new healing Gu called the Good Blood Gu, which can heal using the blood of the healer to cure those who are injured. He also created the Blood Bag Gu, which allows the healer Gu master to recover their lost blood, complementing each other. This applies to other aspects as well, such as attack, defense, and movement, but they are all limited to rank 1, as Chen Wei focused on quantity rather than quality, and he focused more on base Gu masters who can easily switch paths. In fact, due to so many Gu masters switching cultivation to the Blood Path, the Chen family, which has the Blood Path Gu recipes, earned a lot of money, despite his grandfather deciding to sell the Gu for a very cheap price after making an agreement with the clan leader. You see, they could take advantage of the situation to make a fortune, but when the clan loses the war, they would be killed, conquered, and enslaved, and their wealth would only be a lure for those who want to loot. So his grandfather made the wiser decision to prioritize the clan's common good so that they can win the war, and then they can gain a larger share of the spoils of war according to his agreement with the leader. You know, sometimes I wonder if I'm changing too much. During all this time, he wasn't talking to himself but with a blood creature that he's caressing while it's trying to kill him but can't even cut his hand. When I was on Earth, I would never kill anyone, and I was strongly in favor of peace. But now, he thinks for a while, feeling like he's slowly losing his humanity. I'm excited for a war that will kill thousands of innocents just so I can achieve my goal faster. Chen Wei never considered himself a good person, and when he lived on Earth, he came from a poor family in a third world country, so he tried his best to climb the social ladder, understanding the suffering of those at the bottom of society. But it seems that after coming to this world, he awakened a killer that has always been inside him but that he never noticed before because he had never been in a situation where someone's life was in his hands before on Earth. Well, so be it. This war is inevitable, so what's the problem with me trying to make the most of it? Like any normal person would, Chen Wei tries to rationalize and justify his sins. He was about to do more experiments when a knock on the door distracts him. "Young master, your sister is looking for you," a trusted butler of his grandfather comes to inform him. Tell Huar that I'm coming. Chen Wei packs his things and then leaves the dungeon and follows the butler as he takes the blood creature with him, holding her with one hand while it tries to resist. Brother. A 9-year-old girl runs and hugs Chen Wei. Blood creature. She tries to take the blood creature from Chen Wei's hands, but he doesn't let her. Huar, promise you'll be careful. Our father will really scold me if you get hurt. She nods her head and takes the blood creature while running around with it. Yes, this blood creature is so weak that it can't resist or harm a little girl, but of course, Chen Wei weakened it intentionally beforehand. While Chen Wei watches his sister playing with the blood creature, Chen Ming comes to talk to him. Ah, a creature with the potential to be one of the most destructive war weapons reduced to a little girl's toy, it's really sad to see. Did you come here to talk about when the academy year ends, and I officially become a clan soldier? Chen Wei gets straight to the point since he knows where this conversation will lead, so he wants to expedite it a bit to save both his and his brother's time. Do you already have the certainty that you can reach rank 2 before the end of the school year? Honestly, if you achieve that, it will be an impressive feat. His brother, like most talented students, finished the academy at rank 1 peak stage, but Chen Wei has already reached that point, and there are still a little over 2 months left until the end of the school year. Probably, but when I get there, my cultivation will have a significant speed drop due to the war. Chen Wei planned to reach rank 3 at age 18 or 19, but he feels that because of the war, it will take longer. Well, it's not like what you think is slow is really slow. I'm already 23 years old and still in the rank 2 upper stage. Chen Ming gives him a GU with confidential information from the clan. Our informants in both clans have informed us that the other 2 clans have killing you as one of their priorities. Chen Wei looks at the information on the GU with calm eyes since he already had an idea that things would be like this. Can't I just stay inside the clan without doing anything? It would be much safer. Chen Wei is, of course, joking. He doesn't want to and do not have the freedom to stay at home while others die fighting on the front lines. Although he is talented and has an A grade, someone with talent but who doesn't die for the clan willing is considered worthless for the clan's survival in everyone's eyes, much less than a D grade who is willing to die for the clan's good. Not that he cares about the clan's opinion, but for now, he doesn't have the necessary strength to suppress the clan's entire opinion and do what he wants. This war will probably be the greatest risk to my life that I will experience, but it will also be my greatest opportunity. Chen Wei thinks, looking at the heaven with a look of pure hatred. Mom, let's hurry. I want to see Big Brother fight. I bet he'll win first place. A boy of just over 7 urges his mother, who is tidying up the house before they leave. The boy looks out the window of their house and sees the streets, beautifully decorated for the year, bustling with people despite the end-of-year cold. Ming Shi, didn't I tell you to calm down? If you keep this up, I won't take you to the end-of-year tournament at the academy, the boy's mother says with an irritated look after the boy continues to rush her, despite having reprimanded him for it several times. At the same time, throughout the clan's streets, one can see various young people of the same age heading towards the clan's academy, where today's end-of-year tournament will be held. What do you think? I have a high chance of winning, right? A confident boy asks his friend as they walk side by side. Bro, we're both only at the middle stage. Do you really think you can beat those geniuses at the top? He looks at his friend, astonished, as if he were looking at a mentally challenged person. His friend gives him a thumbs up and nods with a big smile on his face, as if he had already won. Ah, this generation is becoming increasingly undisciplined and dumb. An old GU master struggles to walk, using a cane to assist his movements, while complaining about the new generation. Esteemed elder, all the students have already arrived and are now being organized for the cultivation testing ceremony. The leader of the guards kneels before the academy elder, while behind him, a dozen guards do the same. Good. This class of students was excellent, especially Chen Wei and Jin Jiyu. Although the former was an expected talent given his lineage, the latter was truly a great surprise. The academy elder, with his extensive understanding of the students, describes them as the ones who stood out the most. The academy elder goes to the window and looks down at the pavilion below, where the young students are organized in orderly rows. Good morning, my esteemed students. Today marks your last day as students and the beginning of your new life as clan soldiers. he begins his speech, while the young people in the pavilion express enthusiasm, yet still maintain discipline without making noise or breaking formation. For those of you who are combat-focused GU Masters, today will also be the day you fight in the Academy's final and greatest competition. The Academy Elder's eyes scan from student to student as he evaluates them, pondering how much they have grown in this past year. I hope that all of you have become competent GU Master experts and can join a good team. He concludes his brief speech and is greeted by the excited roar of the students. Take the students to the arena for the competition, and I don't want to see any mistakes, as the entire clan, as well as the elders and clan leader, are watching. The Academy Elder orders the guards, who will carry out his orders with the utmost care, as they could be executed if they make a mistake that embarrasses the Academy Elder before the whole clan. This generation of students had two almost opposite stars, right? A rank 2 GU Master woman asks her team leader, a middle-aged man with slightly balding hair. Are you talking about the Blood Prince and the Mortal Champion? The middle-aged man asks, stroking his beard thoughtfully. Of course, he is referring to Chen Wei and Jin Ji-yu, who have become quite famous in the meantime. Chen Wei has always been known as the grandson of an elder, but now he is known as one of the greatest talents the clan has produced in the last few years, and many GU Masters know him as the creator of the Blood Path Gus, which saved many lives in the war. On the other hand, Jin Ji-yu is much less known to the average GU Master, but he is extremely popular among mortals or GU Masters with low innate talent, as he comes from a long-standing mortal family but still surpassed almost everyone to rank second in various academy exams despite his humble origins. In fact, Chen Wei tried to recruit him early in the academy, but the young man refused without hesitation, which made some of Chen Wei's allies want to teach Jin Ji-yu a lesson, but they were stopped by Chen Wei himself. Well, we shouldn't focus on these stars but on those who are in the middle, since our team doesn't have the qualifications to recruit those with great talent, the middle-aged man says as he begins to evaluate the students he can recruit for his team. It is an honor for me to present the future stars of Clan Heian before everyone's eyes. Please judge my work as an educator. The Academy Elder speaks with emotion as he greets the audience, but more specifically the elders and clan leaders. Clap clap. The Academy Elder claps, and the guard beside him begins to call students to test their cultivation level. He and Ma Fei, please step forward. The young man, who is short but muscular and bronzed with black hair, steps forward to have his cultivation tested. The Academy Elder checks his aperture and declares, he and Ma Fei, D-grade talent, rank 1 middle stage. The young man returns to stand with the rest, head held high and proud. As for someone with a D grade of 23%, this was a great achievement. The Academy Elder looks at the young man solemnly. He thinks it's a pity that a hard-working and diligent student like him has such low talent. If only he were a C grade or more. He and Zifei, please step forward. Unaware of the Academy Elder's thoughts, the guard calls another young man who is one of Chen Wei's close subordinates. He and Zifei, C grade talent, rank 1 upper stage. The Academy Elder speaks, leaving some people in the audience impressed, as this is not an easy level to achieve as a C grade. This is a good young man. Chen Wei will truly have many capable subordinates in the future. The Academy Elder, of course, knows the cultivation rank of most of the youths here by heart, so he knows that Chen Wei's close subordinates form a spectacular group. He and Suo, please step forward. The guard calls a young woman with a cute appearance and short stature who has already stolen many hearts of the students present here. He and Suo, B grade, rank 1 peak stage. The Academy Elder speaks fervently, looking at the young GU Master with pride in his eyes as the audience erupts into cheers and applause since she is the first among the students to reach the peak stage. This is a good student, and the best part is that she is focusing on becoming a GU Master medic instead of a fighter. He thinks as he admires her for putting her considerable talents into helping others rather than seeking personal glory on the battlefield, knowing that the clan always needs capable medics. And so, the ceremony continues, with most of the students either in the initial or middle stage, and few talented ones reaching the upper stage. Until it's the turn of a young man who causes a stir among those of mortal origin. He and Jin Ji-yu, please step forward. A young man of average height and ordinary appearance steps forward with strong confidence, without a hint of nervousness. He and Jin Ji-yu, B grade, rank 1 peak stage. The mortals of the clan and those of humble origin make an exaggerated uproar that shocks the other people. This young man truly was a pleasant surprise. I never expected him to rise so rapidly despite his mortal family background. Of course, despite his family being mortal, he is still a descendant of the first leader of Clan Hien, as those mortals from different origins are not allowed to become GU masters without in the clan. But just as the excitement is about to reach its peak, the next words from the guard silence everyone. He and Chen Wei, please step forward. Everyone looks at arguably the most talented and famous student present as he calmly walks up to the academy elder, who looks at him with pride and even a hint of admiration. He and Chen Wei, a grade, rank 2 initial stage. These words from the academy elder shock everyone except him and Chen Wei's family, who already knew this result. The commotion caused by this revelation dwarfs the one previously sparked by Jin Ji Yu, making it seem like child's play in comparison. Amidst all this excitement and affirmation from everyone, the main focus of shock remains calmly impassive, as if he has nothing to do with the uproar. Well, now that we've finally finished with the cultivation level tests, we can begin the final academy competition. The academy elder speaks with excitement after spending an hour personally checking each student's cultivation level. The spectators in the stands respond with enthusiasm, making the young fighters feel quite nervous about the prospect of fighting in front of the entire clan and their families. Clap clap. The academy elder lightly claps to signal both the students who will fight and the supporting guards and GU masters to organize themselves. Wei 2, this guy is unlucky, getting the strongest student in the first round of duels. An old man with an aura of wisdom in the audience speaks to his friend, a somewhat overweight man wearing luxurious and extravagant clothing, indicating that he is a wealthy merchant. Chen Wei, this boy is truly talented, the GU he created are the ones selling the most in the clan markets recently. Of course, he doesn't care much about combat or GU usage, instead, he focuses on whether they can make money or not. In fact, due to his disabled status after losing a leg, he never even bothered to buy and attack GU unless it was for resale later. Of course, this kind of conversation is happening all over the place and is mainly happening with the students who will fight. Even the students who won't fight are participating in the conversations. And who are these students who won't fight, and why, you ask? Well, they are students who have decided to become medics instead of fighters, so they won't participate in the competition. Instead, they will stay on the sidelines and demonstrate their healing abilities by treating the injured students. A good example of this is one of this year's stars, Suo. Well, looking at how the fights will go, my victory is almost guaranteed, unless something unexpected happens. Chen Wei looks at the board containing which students fought against whom, gathering information about his opponent. Despite being confident he can win, he knows that not increasing his own advantage further would be foolish. He and Chubi, I offer my greetings to my opponent, a boy with short brown hair and a slight build speaks. He is one of those still in the initial stage. Despite his C-grade talent, he is not the type to cultivate diligently. He and Ma Fei, I offer my greetings to my opponent. A shorter, more muscular boy roars with excitement. He is already in the middle stage, so despite having AD-grade talent, his primeval essence levels are comparable. Remember, breaking the rules will result in immediate disqualification and severe punishment by the clan. Everything's ready, you can start the fight. The guard warns them to follow the rules before the fight, which is the first of this competition. Ma Fei quickly advances towards Chubi at an impressive speed for a young boy, catching his opponent, who has little skill and experience in combat, off guard. Oh, shit, damn it. Chubi shouts as he begins to use his water arrow GU, but due to Ma Fei's speed and his own lack of skill with the GU, he misses all 4 attacks and quickly runs out of primeval essence to use his GU again. Not that he would have been able to, as by this point, Ma Fei is already in front of him, engaging in close combat. He is at a significant disadvantage compared to Ma Fei, who uses the wolf strength GU and regularly trains in close combat, being one of the best in the academy in this area. As Chubi tries to defend his face, he takes a punch to the stomach. When he tries to defend his stomach, he takes a kick to the leg. Needless to say, he is quickly defeated by Ma Fei, who didn't even break a sweat during the fight. This boy is clever. He quickly closed the distance on his opponent, who had a long-distance GU. Chen Wei analyzes the fight, gathering information about the winner of the fight, both to prepare himself and to pass the time until his fight. Also, He chose a strength path GU with the lowest primeval essence consumption, which compensates for his low aptitude. While Chen Wei is lost in his thoughts, another fight has already begun between a somewhat chubby boy with long hair and a girl of average appearance. Darn, I can only use the water cut GU twice, but her dripping GU is specialized in various attacks. The boy quickly thinks, as he has to constantly dodge the various water droplets coming towards him at high speed. He is at rank 1 initial stage cultivation, while the girl he is fighting against is at rank 1 middle stage, and she is using the dripping GU, which is focused on various attacks that, despite having little strength, compensate in quantity. Seeing that he had no choice, he charged forward with all his strength, hoping to reach her before she could inflict enough damage to defeat him. Unfortunately, despite managing to land one water-cut GU attack on her, he still ended up being defeated by her due to severe injuries. Quick! After the end of the battle, the students intending to become healing GU masters hurry to heal the two who are quite injured after the fight. While they heal the injured students, the next fight is announced. It is the fight between Wei Tu and Chen Wei. Is needless to say, in everyone's eyes, Chen Wei is the undisputed favorite. But when Wei Tu takes the stage, he is not nervous at all. Despite only having a rank 1 middle stage cultivation, he acts as if he is on the same level as Chen Wei, which made some people even start to wonder if he has some hidden trick up his sleeve. This boy Wei Tu either has a trick up his sleeve or is a complete idiot without sense. A middle-aged GU master who is going bald speaks to a GU master woman next to him, who is watching the fight eagerly. Today, I will defeat you, you spoiled young master, and I will show you that my effort can defeat a boy born with a silver spoon like you. Wei Tu points to Chen Wei as he shouts loudly for everyone to hear, leaving everyone who doubted whether he was just a confident idiot or had a hidden card in his sleeve to confirm that he is indeed just a confident idiot. Chen Wei looks at him intrigued, not knowing if the boy is very foolish or very brave. Well, if you want to prove so much that you can defeat me with this effort, I'll do you the favor of showing you how real life works. Chen Wei uses the blood armor GU and simply walks forward towards Wei Tu calmly at a normal speed. Wei Tu, seeming to get angry at the disdain shown by Chen Wei, tries to attack him using the water cut GU. But after attacking him several times, the defense of the blood armor still hasn't been broken, and Chen Wei is already a few steps away from him. But before he can attack again, Chen Wei uses T-Blood Rush GU. Wei Tu only sees Chen Wei's afterimage when he suddenly appears in front of him and uses Blood Cut GU, making two cuts that form an X on Wei Tu's chest, which starts bleeding like a breached dam because of bleeding GU. His blood loss is so great that it could kill him in less than 5 minutes if not treated. Seeing the severity of Wei Tu's condition, the guard quickly declares the end of the match and Chen Wei the winner. Quick! Medics, come up to the arena. The students quickly come to heal the severely injured Wei Tu, but the bleeding only diminishes in severity. It would still kill him in a few hours at most. The problem now isn't the external bleeding, but the internal bleeding, and there's nothing you can do to fix that at rank 1. Chen Wei speaks as he walks over to the student who is agonizing while bleeding on the ground. The guard prepares to call a rank 2 healing GU master, but Chen Wei uses another one of his GU, the bleeding stop GU. Now you can heal him effectively. Chen Wei looks at the deplorable state of his opponent, analyzing the results of the fight without caring about Wei Tu's well-being or the applause he's receiving from the audience. I only used 8.75% of my primeval essence to completely defeat him. Chen Wei reflects thoughtfully on his performance in the just concluded fight. The difference between cultivation realms is indeed something really significant. He knows that this difference only increases in the future, especially between rank 5 and 6, and rank 8 and 9, which are the most qualitative changes in cultivation. And that's because I haven't refined the liquor worm to rank 2 yet, otherwise, I would have only spent 4.37%, Chen Wei remarks, despite having all the materials for refinement, as he collected them throughout the year. However, he hasn't had time to attempt refining the 4 flavors liquor worm, but it's one of his priorities. Jin GU, he chose the Water Saber GU, a good choice since he seems to enjoy close combat and it's an excellent offensive GU. Chen Wei is slightly worried about him, but more due to Chen Wei's cautious nature than Jin GU having real chances of winning against him. While Chen Wei is lost in his thoughts, Jin GU is slashing with his Water Saber towards his opponent, who is in a desperate situation but still doesn't give up until Jin Ji is declared victorious by the overseeing guard, who sees that the match could lead to a fatal incident if it continued. That guy didn't even need to fight seriously to defeat an opponent in the middle stage with ease. He looks at his saber and then at Chen Wei, who seems not to notice or care about him. Will he need to exert himself to defeat me? He quickly slaps himself after having these thoughts. When did I become so defeatist with myself? I wasn't thinking about how to win, just whether I would lose easily or not. He strengthens his resolve, swearing to himself to win no matter what. Thus, after several battles, the first phase finally comes to an end, ushering in the second phase, where almost all rank 1 initial stage cultivation students have been eliminated. The second phase of the competition begins with a match between Ma Fei and Lin Ji, the girl who used the advantage of the dripping Ji to defeat her opponent. However, this time, it won't be as easy for her as before. Begin. The guard starts the match, and Ma Fei quickly tries to close the distance between them to diminish Lin Ji's advantages and increase his own. Her Ji has the advantage of consuming little primeval essence and attacking multiple times. He skillfully avoids her attacks while trying to close the distance, but the girl is constantly keeping her distance from him. But that advantage means nothing to me, as I've used wolf strength Ji. So now I only need to expend the vitality of my body to keep fighting. Darn it. Why did my opponent have to be him? I've barely hit him 10 times so far. Lin Ji is starting to feel desperate as, despite her Ji consuming little primeval essence, it still consumes some, and now her primeval essence is starting to run out. I have to find a way. Due to her deep thoughts, she showed an opening that was quickly exploited by Ma Fei, who is now attacking her with the ferocity of a wolf, leaving the girl unable to react as she was quickly knocked out by him. Thus, Ma Fei won this match and advanced to the next phase. He looks at his family in the audience and clenches his fists. Mom, Dad, I swore I wouldn't waste this divine opportunity to become a great Ji master. He also comes from a mortal family, so he's striving to give them a better future. As he descends from the arena, Chen Wei passes by him, heading up for his second match against Lu Jiao, who is also a grandson of a clan elder and is at the peak stage, so many expect a tough fight for Chen Wei despite being at rank 2. Begin. The guard starts the match, and Chen Wei quickly activates the Blood Armor Ji and Blood Rush Ji, advancing rapidly. Lu Jiao, prepared for this type of attack, isn't caught off guard and quickly uses the Water Armor Ji while creating a Water Spear using the Water Spear Ji, which is his vital Ji. However, Chen Wei stops before he's within Lu Jiao's range and starts using the Blood Arrow Ji to attack from a distance. Damn it, I was hoping he wouldn't fight with this strategy. Seeing no other option, Lu Jiao has to advance rapidly so that his Water Spear is within attacking range. In the meantime, 3 blood arrows hit him, leaving his water armor in a deplorable state, but he quickly begins to recover it when suddenly he feels a sharp pain as the water armor collapses rapidly. Fuck. This guy, he's too strong. He could have killed me if I didn't have the water armor. Lu Jiao collapses to the ground, a deep cut running from his neck to his waist. This, of course, wasn't the effect of a rank 1 Ji, but rather of a rank 2 Ji. This Ji is actually the reason why Chen Wei hasn't had time to refine the liquor worm to rank 2 yet, as he spent most of his time refining the blood cut Ji to rank 2. He called it Blood Killer Cut. In fact, even after using it, Chen Wei was shocked by its strength and speed, which are at the top of rank 2, and the best part is that it has moderate primeval essence consumption, only consuming 10% of light red primeval essence for each attack. And the best part is that it can still be easily refined, as Chen Wei only needed to use the blood of beasts and some rank 2 Ji masters who are prisoners of war under the clan's custody. Move aside, he's in critical condition. A rank 2 Ji master healer quickly comes to heal Lu Jiao, as he's the grandson of an elder. Quickly, several rank 2 Ji masters are helping to heal him. Chen Wei, do you realize how irresponsible that was? He could have died because of that attack. He shouts angrily, but internally he's in shock, knowing that if he had to take that attack, he wouldn't be in a much better situation. And that's just one attack. Chen Wei could easily attack multiple times. The cut, despite being deep, didn't hit any vital points. With the care of so many Ji master healers, he'll be fine. Chen Wei rebuts the accusation as he leaves the arena and on the way, looks directly at Jin Ji-yu, who seems quite nervous with a complicated expression on his face. This young man is truly talented. This new Ji-yu of his is definitely at the top of rank 2. That's worrisome, the clan leader ponders deeply while revealing only a neutral face before turning to look at his daughter, who is cheering for Chen Wei like a fangirl. Ah, this girl, she's already hopelessly in love with this young man, even with my corrections and warnings, despite the clan leader noticing some change in Wang Mei. After checking if she wasn't under the influence of any Ji-yu and finding nothing, he simply attributed it to her age and the fact that she's now in love with a boy. Ah, my grandson is truly the most talented of this generation. What do you think, Lu Di? He hears Chen Wang taunting one of his political rivals, who is Lu Zhao's grandfather, while continuing to praise Chen Wei incessantly. Lu Di only grunts but doesn't respond to Chen Wang's provocations as he sends one of his subordinates to check on his grandson's condition, who is still lying on the ground being healed. It's good to have knowledge about this boy's abilities. It seems the leader was right to fear his talent. A seemingly ordinary-looking Ji-yu master sitting in the stands while watching uses a Ji-yu to record everything. Of course, he's a spy from the Feng Ji clan tasked with gathering information. We really need to get rid of this boy before he can fulfill his potential. Sounds of cutting and fighting are heard amidst the even bigger sound of a crowd of people in the background, discussing the fight, not that these discussion noises matter to the two boys fighting with all their might. On one side stands a boy with a common appearance but an exceptional aura, holding a water saber in one hand and a water armor covering his entire body, resembling a noble warrior capable of defeating all in his path. This boy is none other than Jin Ji-yu. And on the other side stands a tall, handsome boy with a water spear in one hand and a shield of water in the other. He gazes intently at Jin Ji-yu, not letting even the slightest movement go unnoticed. This young man is Xu Shang. The two boys are now in the penultimate round of the academy competition, with the winner of this match poised to face Chen Wei for the top spot in the final academy competition. So neither of them is giving up or faltering, despite both being physically exhausted, covered in cuts, and with their primeval essences nearly completely depleted. The perseverance of both boys to win no matter what has impressed all those watching this fight, as the injuries they both sustain are not light. One of these injuries would be enough to make a weak-spirited person give up, yet both boys have several injuries of this type. The two boys now stand facing each other, waiting for their reserves of primeval essence to replenish, as well as hoping for their opponent to make a mistake. The slightest mistake could be enough to break the delicate balance between them. These guys are really giving it their all. Chen Wei, who is resting after his battle, looks at the two students in awe. Who do you think will win between the two? I think in the end, who will take the victory this time will be Jin Ji-yu despite his injuries being greater, but he is also the one with more primeval essence. Ma Fei, who is beside Chen Wei, as he was invited by him to discuss and share battle experiences after narrowly losing to Ga Mi, one of Chen Wei's most skilled subordinates, speaks with a serious tone, wanting to impress Chen Wei with his own understanding of the battle. In fact, he has already impressed Chen Wei with his combat ability and talent, who analyzed that this boy is only behind himself in combat talent. Despite having a low aptitude, Ma Fei is following the strength path, known for having the lowest primeval essence consumption among any other path. Of course, this choice would be detrimental to him if he were to reach the immortal realm, as even in this era, strength path is in decline, although not comparable to the decline of Fang Yuan's time, it still has a significant impact on the immortal world. But this wouldn't affect Ma Fei, who with his talent, will hardly reach rank 2, let alone speak of the immortal realm. In the current mortal world, the strength path is still the most common, especially among lone and demoniac cultivators. I also agree with you, but this Xu Shang really has impressive strength to be able to put up such a spectacular fight against such a strong opponent. Chen Wei looks at the two who have engaged in physical combat once again, moving throughout the arena, which is now painted red with blood. I will cut through the heavens if they stand in my way. Jin Ji-yu shouts as he delivers the fatal blow against Xu Shang, who falls defeated to the ground while Guardian Ji-yu masters rush to heal him. I made it to the final, now I just have to defeat that guy. Jin Ji-yu speaks while breathing heavily due to the exhaustion of battle, also being healed as he is not in a much better condition than his opponent. Of course, he will receive half an hour to rest and recover from both injuries and primeval essence using primeval stones provided by the Academy. I have reached such a deplorable state, to reach the final and that guy hasn't even bled yet. This was the most terrifying fact in Jin Gu's eyes because throughout this time, despite Chen Wei having to fight seriously and exert himself in the semi-finals, he has not been injured even once. Although this is the result that all well-informed individuals expected, this fight will be truly spectacular to watch. A middle-aged, somewhat bald man speaks as he begins to drink a whole jar of wine. So, who should we bet on? Of course, where there is competition, there are bets, and during these academy battles, various people bet among themselves. Of course, these bets are not official or recognized by the academy, but they are not illegal either. Today I am feeling like taking a risk, so bet on this Jin Gu. He takes out 10 primeval stones and gives them to the female Gu master who is talking to him. I will place the bet for the leader. She bows before going to one of the several betting points to place the bet for her leader. Quickly, the half-hour rest passes, and the final between Jin Gu and Chen Wei is announced, leading the audience, who were tired of waiting, to shout with excitement. As soon as they step onto the arena, the two begin to stare each other down, analyzing every slightest movement made by their opponent. They remain like this until Chen Wei uses the blood arrow Gu to start the fight, causing Jin Gu to use the water armor and advance forward while doing his best to avoid Chen Wei's blood arrows. In no time, Chen Wei activates 3 more Gu, the blood rush Gu, blood armor Gu, and trace of blood Gu, and advances forward. Even though he could turn this into a long-distance fight if he wanted to, this is not Chen Wei's style or preference. So he advances forward at a speed that Jin Gu cannot keep up with, leaving bloodstains on the ground, which is now white after being cleaned by the guards, making these bloodstains even more apparent. This is the effect of the trace of blood Gu, which is also a movement Gu that caught Jin Gu off guard since this is the first time Chen Wei has used this Gu in combat. Blood Sword. Chen Wei summons a blood sword using the blood sword Gu, one of the most recent ones he created. Jin Gu barely manages to protect himself, starting to exert himself to keep up with the fighting rhythm established by Chen Wei. But even this was not enough for him to compare to Chen Wei, who was still pressing him more and more, leaving him covered in bruises and small cuts that bleed much more than they should for their sizes all over Jin Gu's body. Shit. At this rate, it's only a matter of time until I lose. And the worst part is that Jin Gu knows that Chen Wei hasn't even revealed most of the cards he has up his sleeve, which to him seems like a contempt for his opponents. But for Chen Wei, it was the most logical potion to not give away his own secrets to his future political rivals and to the spies of the other 2 clans, which he is sure are keeping an eye on him. At least I still have 1 card up my sleeve, hopefully it's enough to change the outcome of this fight. Jin Gu begins to prepare to use his trump card, Water Explosive Force Gu, which can only be used 3 times before dying. But this Gu allows him to explosively increase the strength of any water path Gu of the same rank or below by up to 3 times for a time of 10 breaths. This Gu was given to him by the elder who is the leader of the second largest faction of the clan, and after recruiting Jin Gu and promising to adopt him as his adoptive son at the end of the academy when he officially becomes a warrior Gu master of the clan. Explosive Force Water Saber. He shouts in his head as he attacks Chen Wei with all his might, not caring about defending anymore but focusing entirely on breaking Chen Wei's blood armor and dealing damage to him for the first time. The onslaught of attacks hits Chen Wei head-on, causing his blood armor to resist for a short time before collapsing. However, it lasted long enough for Chen Wei to prepare to defend against most of the attacks, but one still hits him, leaving a large but shallow cut on his chest. I made you bleed. Jin Gu speaks with a focused and determined look as if he can now see a way to win this battle. Chen Wei looks at the cut on his chest, which is bleeding slightly, and sighs. So be it, then, I'll go all out. After saying these quick words, Jin Gu sees Chen Wei disappear, leaving only an afterimage before appearing in front of him within striking range. But Jin Gu only had time to raise his water saber before hearing Chen Wei roar, "Bloody sword cut!" and attack him with all his strength, causing his water saber and water armor to collapse instantaneously, while Jin Gu himself was almost cut in 2 by the attack. That, along with the shock on the faces of those watching the match, were the last things Jin Ji remembers before he passed out. The effect was really satisfactory, but there is still a long way to go to become a mortal killer move. This attack was created using the Blood Sword Gu and Blood Killer Cut and is a prototype of a mortal killer move created by Chen Wei. Quickly, the rank 2 medic Gu masters come to treat Jin Ji, who is in critical condition, while Chen Wei treats the cut on his chest by himself. Well, this generation has really produced an exceptional young man. The Academy Elder comes and congratulates him while checking Jin Gu's condition, sighing in relief to see that he is recovering well. Well, now it's time to announce the winner, right? After Jin Ji is taken off the stage and taken to the infirmary, the Academy Elder announces to everyone. I, as the Elder of the Academy, announce that the winner of the Academy competition in the year 537 after the creation of the clan is he and Chen Wei. He announces, leading the audience into a frenzy of praise and celebration for the successful conclusion of another end-of-year Academy competition. Snowflakes continue to fall incessantly over Longshan Mountain, turning the once green and vibrant scenery of forests and hills into a purely white and desolate landscape. The dawn light slowly filters through the sky, but the sun at 7 in the morning has not yet fully emerged, amidst a cloudy and stormy day, where dark clouds loom menacingly over the landscape. Amidst this desolate scenery, a group of people swiftly follow a indirect route through the landscape, never maintaining a straight line, not making it easily ambushed. This group consists of 8 individuals, 6 men and 2 women, all wearing a red badge on their attire with a character for 2 written on it, identifying them as rank 2 Gu Masters, the elite force of the clan. This group, of course, is the one Chen Wei joined after the Academy competition, and the group is being led by his brother Chen Ming, a rank 2 upper realm Gu Master, that along with his impressive combat strength that has spread his fame both within the Heian clan and the other 2 clans of Longshan Mountain, thus making him the natural leader for this team of Gu Masters. Chen Wei is currently located in the middle of the group, the safest place for him in case of a surprise attack, as despite his rank 2 cultivation and considerable combat ability, he is still seen as an inexperienced junior in real life and death battles by his teammates. Tai Pai, have you managed to locate the 100 Beast King? Chen Ming, leading the team, asks a thin man with long, unkempt hair, who is the investigation specialist of the group. He has moved from the location we were informed to a plain near a cliff about 200 meters to our northwest. Tai Pai, who walks with closed eyes, speaks in a low voice, his face resembling that of a bat-faced man, which mothers would use to scare misbehaving children. Of course, he was not born with this bat-like appearance, but it's the effect of one of the best rank 2 investigative GU, called echolocation GU, considered to be at the peak of investigative GU, but with the disadvantage of giving its user a bat-like face and partially blinding their own vision. From the information we have, the strength of this 100 Beast King is bordering on rank 3, so the clan has sent us to eliminate this future headache while he still has rank 2 strength. Huangbi, a tall man nearing 2 meters, explains to Chen Wei to keep him informed of the reason they are going on this mission. This is also because I am being trained in real combat. Chen Wei thinks about how in a situation where his group didn't have a newcomer, they would now be participating in missions on the front lines of the war that has been getting more intense recently. I understand, Mr. Huangbi. They quickly arrive at the plain and can see the 100 Beast King precisely lying amidst the mud, surrounded by just over 100 ordinary boars, most of them also resting in the mud. Chen Ming and his group still keep a certain distance from the group of boars, not leaving the cover of the forest surrounding the plain to avoid revealing their arrival to the 100 Beast King. Chen Ming uses hand signals to indicate each member's position with him, Huangbi, and Zhen Fu, a middle-aged man with a bald head resembling that of a Buddhist monk, being responsible for killing the 100 Beast King. Meanwhile, Tai Pai, Chen Wei, and Meng Xin, a tall woman with red hair, are responsible for dealing with the ordinary boars, killing them and preventing them from aiding the 100 Beast King. And the last member of the team, Ning Yun, a young female GU master who is also new to the team but already has 3 years of practical experience as a healing GU master, is responsible for staying in the back providing healing for anyone in need. Chen Ming signals for the group to begin the attack and quickly creates water waves that hit the 100 Beast King directly as it rests in the mud. The 100-Beast King roars loudly and starts to rise but is restricted by rapidly growing thorn-covered vines that began to sprout from the ground. But before it could deal with the vines, Huangbi advances quickly with a ferocious tiger toward it with strong killing intent. Huangbi quickly reaches the restricted 100-Beast King and begins to attack it using punches, kicks, elbow strikes, any part of the body that could be used for an attack, while Zhenfu focuses on increasing the strength and quantity of the thorny vines restraining the 100-Beast King, and Chenming starts shooting water jets that deeply cut and pierce the 100-Beast King. While the three are fiercely engaged against the 100-Beast King, Chenwei and the rest are slaughtering the ordinary boars in masses, forming rivers of blood as the corpses pile up on the ground. Tai Pai uses sound waves to both disorient and cause minimal damage to the boars, but he mainly remains in the support role for his teammates, with Chenwei and Meng Xin being primarily responsible for the boar massacre. Meng Xin creates large water blades that cut down numerous boars with each attack, but who is really standing out is Chenwei, who indiscriminately launches blood cuts while collecting all the blood from the dead boars to use his newest creation, Leech Gu. The Leech Gu converts large amounts of blood into primeval essence. Of course, as Chenwei's Leech Gu is still at rank 1, it only generates rank 1 peak stage primeval essence, but this is already a good help to reduce Chenwei's primeval essence expenditure. The liquor worm is truly a Gu with enormous potential. Chenwei used a liquor worm to create the Leech Gu, but it was worth it for him since he considers it one of the Gu with the greatest potential for the future, especially for the immortal realm. Of course, he also plans to refine the liquor worm to rank 2 in the future since he already has all the refining materials prepared, as well as he plans to upgrade almost his entire Gu arsenal to rank 2. Chenwei plans to make full use of the peculiar characteristic of the blood path being easy to refine and nurture, not that money is one of his concerns, as he earns a portion of the profits from the blood path Gu sold by the Chen family, since he is the creator of the Gus. So at least during rank 2, money will not be a concern for Chenwei, nor will cultivation resources, as the thing he lacks the least now is blood and dead animals. But suddenly Chenwei is taken out of his thoughts by the agonizing roar of the 100-Beast King, who gives his last breath before dying after enduring an impressive amount of time under the onslaught of attacks from the 3 strongest members of this Gu Master team. Shortly after killing the 100-Beast King, they quickly help the others to finish off the common boars. So, what do you say? Was it a good slaughter, Chenwei? Huangbi says with a fierce grin on his face as he starts to collect the valuable parts of the boars to sell. It really was. Chenwei is happy to collect the blood of all the boars here, which is a loot that is extremely valuable to him. Everyone, wait, I have bad news. When Chenwei was starting to collect the boar's blood, Tai Pai shouts with a complicated look and a face full of worry. A group of coyotes is coming in this direction. They probably want to hunt us down after sensing the smell of blood. Everyone quickly stopped looting the dead boars and prepares for battle. But the worst part is that they seem to have a 100-Beast King with rank 3 strength leading them. All present feel their hearts sink a little because of such bad luck, but they still calm down to be reminded by Chenming that there is still a reserve escape route for them to flee, so they are not trapped on the plain facing a cliff. Chenwei internally sighs as he tries to suppress his growing nervousness since he imagines this is just the beginning of heavens will making his life a hell. And his concerns are confirmed when Tai Pai shouts again, telling him he also located another group of coyotes with strength similar to the first coming from the only possible escape route for them. I need to recover primeval essence, Chenwei says breathlessly as he retreats to the rear of the combat formation and uses primeval stones to replenish his primeval essence. He has performed this same action countless times during this long period in which his team has had to endure the incessant attack of the coyotes, who seem never to stop coming, as if they were all being drawn to this location. Damn it! Why are these reinforcements taking so long? Tai Pai complains angrily while taking turns with Chenwei to recover his primeval essence. It's possible that this is a trap set by one of the other clans. Huangbi shouts angrily but continues to fight. He is the one who needs to recover primeval essence the least, as he is a strength path Gu master. If it were one of the other clans, they would have attacked by themselves at this point. Zhenfu continues to reinforce the thorny vines he created, which are currently the most effective lines of defense to delay the coyotes while they await reinforcements. We must persevere. I guarantee you that the clan must have sent several rescue teams, with elders of the clan for added security. Chenming speaks with certainty, and he is correct in assuming this. Unfortunately, the teams sent have all, coincidentally, encountered various problems on the way, further delaying their arrival to relieve Chen Wei's team. Damn, if we continue like this, the heavens will is going to find a way to kill us, Chen Wei thinks to himself while efficiently killing coyotes, trying to make every drop of primeval essence count. I also doubt that these reinforcements will ever arrive. Chen Wei's thoughts are now filled with concern as he believes this situation is not merely a coincidence or bad luck, but rather the heavens will unleashing its fury on Chen Wei, who is an otherworldly demon. But there must be a way. No matter what, there must be a way to escape from here alive. Chen Wei is certain of this because the heavens will must adhere to the heavenly Tao and always be just, so there is no calamity without a solution. Furthermore, calamities, once overcome, will benefit the GU masters if they know how to seize the benefits. Chen Wei is certain that if it weren't for this need to be just, the heavens would have already sent some random desolate beast to wipe Longshan Mountain off the map of the southern frontier. I'm out of primeval essence again. Chen Wei returns to the rear of the formation while replenishing his primeval essence, but his mind is thinking about how to convince his brother to try to break this siege. Brother, we can't continue like this. Have you noticed how long the reinforcements are taking? It's entirely possible they've been ambushed on their way here. This is actually a possibility. Despite being behind the front lines and in their own territory, it wouldn't be impossible for the other two clans to do this, although it would be quite difficult. Chenming is in an extremely stressful position, as he has two options that could lead to either his death or the death of his entire team if he makes the wrong decision. These choices are to maintain their positions and wait for reinforcements or to try to break the siege by the coyotes and escape. Of the two, the first is clearly the safer option, but he feels a bad feeling every time he thinks about it. Damn it, so be it, we're going to break the siege and find a way out. Chenming chooses to listen to his instincts rather than what rationality tells him to do, of opting for the safer option of staying here and waiting. If we head southeast from our position, it seems the safest and easiest for a breakout, as everyone looks for a good escape route, Taipai declares firmly and convincingly, leading the others to quickly agree with his opinion. All right then, everyone make sure your reserves of primeval essence are full so we can break the siege. Chenming looks at the horde of coyotes that continue to come with a determined and strong gaze, because once we're out, there's no turning back, so we can only count on success. Shortly after everyone is prepared, Chenming gives the orders, and they break the siege, doing so fervently as the group advances like a ferocious tiger, massacring everything in its path, leaving behind heaps of mutilated coyote corpses. But not all good things last forever, as after their momentum fades, they are attacked by 200 Beast Kings, which promptly separate the group, one side being with Chenming, Huangbi, Taipai, and Ning Yun, who had to battle the 100 Beast King with strength equivalent to rank 3. And on the other side are Chen Wei, Meng Xin, and Zhen Fu, who despite having to battle the 100 Beast King with strength of rank 2, are in a more deplorable state since they are weaker overall than the first group and have lost the healer GU Master. But even so, after overcoming various difficulties and pain, both groups manage to reach the periphery of the Coyotes group, almost completely breaking free from the siege. But at this moment, Chen Wei feels a large amount of blood approaching in his direction at a horribly fast speed. In less than a second, Chen Wei makes a quick decision and pulls Meng Xin, who has a blue crystal armor around her body, in front of him and holds her with a tight embrace. Meng Xin, shocked, is prepared to ask why Chen Wei did this, but before she can even speak, she feels a sharp horn pressing against her back as something crashes into her with full force. In the same second, both she and Chen Wei are flying through the air, colliding with several branches, with Chen Wei only stopping after hitting the back of a solid trunk of a large tree. AHRRGG. Damn, it hurts so much, damn it. Chen Wei thinks as he coughs up blood. He has several broken ribs and is bleeding profusely from a deep cut caused by the horn of the animal that attacked him. Blood armor has been completely destroyed, and the blood armor GU is greatly injured. I need to run fast. Chen Wei uses the bleeding stop GU to stop the severe bleeding he is experiencing while using the blood transfusion GU to heal his wounds that can be healed by the GU. Fortunately, he is someone careful and has a blood storage GU full of O-negative blood. Chen Wei uses all the willpower he can muster to move his body, which seems to be tortured with every tiny movement, to climb up the tree where he hit his back. Once he is safely lying on a branch, he looks to see what animal attacked him and sees 100 beast king boar, similar to the one they killed, being attacked by his team with force, while Chen Ming and Ning Yun run in his direction. Ah, damn it, why did it have to be me? Tears of pain and anger stream down Chen Wei's face as he curses and screams in pain, the worst he has ever felt in his life, as before coming to the GU world, he was just another normal 20-year-old guy, so this is a natural reaction because of the pain. Wait, Meng Xin, she. Amidst the pain, he remembers his teammate, whom he used as a shield to save himself, and searches for her with his eyes, only to see her torso upward with no legs, her body broken and fractured. She has wide open eyes of shock on her dead face, which is covered in blood, making Chen Wei feel a bit of pity, but he feels no remorse because if it weren't for her being in that condition, it would have been Chen Wei himself. Hurry, heal him, Chen Wei's condition is critical. His brother quickly arrives at the branch next to him, instructing Ning Yun to heal Chen Wei with great concern. Damn boar, that was close. Chen Wei speaks angrily as he is healed, struggling hard to keep consciousness and not pass out. The bastard was waiting for the opportunity to attack one of us. But you had the misfortune to be the one, along with Meng Xin. Misfortune. Heaven's will. I'll make you pay for this. Chen Wei thinks with hatred, knowing that luck and misfortune are not the factors in why he was the one attacked, but rather the heaven's will. In the midst of the mountain, covered by desolate white snow, a group of GU masters in a deplorable state retreat continuously towards the Heian village. Damn, what kind of luck is this today? Tai Pai shouts angrily after detecting another small group of beasts coming in their direction. A group of common wolves, no more than 20, coming from the northwest, 50 meters away. Tai Pai quickly announces to everyone, who by this point have become accustomed to this situation, which has occurred numerous times. This is already the 10th group of this size we've encountered so far. Huangbi speaks as he prepares for battle, while Chen Wei swiftly advances into the midst of the group before using bloody sword cut to dispatch half a dozen of the wolves. Chen Wei is covered in blood, both from the beasts he has killed and his own, yet he continues to attack relentlessly, with each strike aimed to kill. This, along with his torn clothes and blood-covered body, makes him appear like a crazed demon. I just need to kill a little more to finish the refinement. Indeed, despite this appearance that would make people think he's out of control, he is extremely calm inside, and not only that, he is refining a GU. But what's most impressive is that this GU isn't even his creation, but rather a GU that is naturally emerging in his body due to his actions, thoughts, and emotions. There are various types of such GU, such as Perseverance GU, Self GU, Hate GU, Regret GU, etc. Of course, the GU that Chen Wei is refining doesn't even compare to these legendary GU. To recap, shortly after being healed by Ning Yun to a condition where he could fight and run, Chen Ming ordered everyone to retreat in group to the clan. But along the path they took, they had the misfortune of encountering several small-scale beast groups, and when they had to fight, Chen Wei could vent all his frustration and hatred towards the heavens will on these beasts. Needless to say, Chen Wei's intent to kill reached its peak, with him wanting to exterminate each one of these beasts with his cuts. And while he killed these beasts, he was bathed in blood, both theirs and his own, not to mention the blood he absorbed with the leech GU to replenish his primeval essence. Amidst all this, Chen Wei began to feel that a GU was slowly being refined in his aperture, which became more complete the more he killed and the more blood he absorbed. Seeing this, Chen Wei quickly determined that this was his benefit that comes after a calamity, since the heavenly Tao is just and treats everyone equally. Kill! Chen Wei shouts as he kills the last wolf necessary to finish the refinement of the GU, which quickly emerges in his aperture like a scorpion with a scarlet body with black spots. Chen Wei stands amidst the blood in deep thought while feeling extreme excitement as he looks at the rank 1 GU swimming in his primeval essence. Chen Ming and the others finish off the wolves, and Chen Ming himself comes to talk to Chen Wei. Brother, are you alright? I know these kinds of life or death experiences can mess with your head, but you need to control yourself. Chen Wei looks at his brother confused before realizing that he must be appearing like a maniac who is taking pleasure in killing beasts to those around him. Sorry, Let myself get carried away because of the situation. Chen Wei quickly composes himself as he begins to decide how he will test the GU when they reach the clan, while he and the team resume retreating to the clan. A group of a dozen cannibalistic green monkeys is coming our way. Tai Pai announces again as everyone prepares for combat, but this time Chen Wei doesn't advance like a maniac since he no longer needs to refine GU. A monkey screams, baring its fangs as it jumps to tear Chen Wei's face apart, but he quickly uses his blood sword to cut the monkey in half. How is this possible? Chen Wei is shocked when the GU he just refined activates on its own without using any primeval essence, and what's more impressive is that Chen Wei felt his attack towards the monkey became much stronger while exuding a deep intent to kill. Chen Wei quickly advances to kill more monkeys to put his theory into practice. As I thought, the GU can activate on its own, but I can also activate it by my own will if I want, but this consumes primeval essence. He cuts the monkeys in half with ease as if he were cutting butter. The effect of the GU seems to make my attacks stronger, but they consume more primeval essence. He quickly discovers that this is not a legendary GU that doesn't consume primeval essence, but rather when it is activated passively, the expenditure is transferred to the GU he is strengthening. Chen Wei looks at the monkey corpses on the ground with a sinister smile on his face, which he quickly tries to hide to not appear like a crazy maniac. Let's go quickly, no time to waste. Chen Ming shouts as he leads the team to advance towards the clan, which they finally reach after half an hour of running. Of course, in this half hour, they encountered two other beast groups, which delayed them a bit, but they were still able to return safely to the clan village. Ah, Chen Ming, Chen Wei, you finally arrived. The various rescue groups I sent were all restrained. Chen Wang quickly comes to check on the physical condition of his grandchildren, who are the future of the Chen family. Healers, come quickly, they are in precarious condition. For Chen Wang, this was definitely the most stressful afternoon he has had in recent years. Just the thought of losing his two grandchildren, who are the future of the Chen family, made him feel a bit of despair. This was definitely a trap set by the other two clans. Although he has no proof, as some of the rescue groups encountered groups from the other two clans and the coincidence of all the rescue groups encountering problems was too great for anyone with a rational mind to believe, and this was Chen Wang's conclusion in the end. While Chen Wei was in deep thoughts about the possible uses of this new GU, a girl quickly enters the clan's reception hall. The girl rushes over to Chen Wei and hugs him tightly, pulling him out of his thoughts. You idiot, do you know how worried I was? Wang Mei hugs him tightly, not letting him go, as she buries her head in Chen Wei's chest while she cries tears of happiness for him being safe. I'm sorry for worrying you so much, Mayor. I promise I won't do it again. Chen Wei hugs her back, acting like a concerned fiancé who wants to comfort his loved one. But in his head, there's something much more important, and that's the GU he just refined. This GU is fantastic, with limitless potential. He thinks as he chooses the name of a GU that will become very famous in the world. I'll call it Blood Killer GU. A deer hunted beast king is peacefully grazing on the outskirts of its herd when suddenly it sees a person approaching extremely fast. But before the deer hunted beast king can do anything to escape or defend itself, it feels a sharp pain as its two front legs are cleanly and easily severed before vines grow around it, preventing it from fleeing, not that it could now with its severed legs. Quick, capture as many heavy work deer as you can. Chen Ming, this time, instead of focusing on killing the hunted beast king, takes charge of capturing the deer mainly since this is his mission. These so-called heavy work deer, or as the name given to them by humans suggests, they are great at performing heavy tasks, being able to do the work of a dozen adult men alone. AHRG. Chen Wei, deliver the final blow quickly. Huang beholds the head of the deer-hunted beast king so that Chen Wei has a clear opportunity to kill the deer. Bloody sword cut. Chen Wei shouts in his mind before cutting the deer's head with 3 slashes, killing it instantly. Instantly, the captured deer, who had been struggling frantically, give up and melancholically become docile for the GU masters who captured them. These deer are really tame after losing their leader. I once heard that they wouldn't even attack a mortal after they become tame. Tai Pai pets the head of a deer he captured while trying to give a gentle smile that looks odd on his bat-like face. I guess it can be said that I had the biggest harvest on this mission, right? Ya Chun, a short and stout man, jokingly says while pointing to a quagmire on the ground filled with captured deer who stopped trying to escape. This Ya Chun is the new member of the team who replaced the now deceased Meng Xin. He is a rank 2 middle stage GU master who primarily uses the Earth Path, being an expert in dealing with a large number of weak enemies simultaneously. Which has been very useful for Chen Wei's team, who are beginning to think they've incurred the wrath of the heavens or something due to their recent streak of bad luck. Only Chen Wei knows they are indeed provoking the heavens by having him on their team. But no tribulation comes without its due benefits, so despite facing great difficulties related to constantly having to fight large groups of beasts over the past month, they have already reaped great benefits. For example, they coincidentally found various expensive GU materials on missions they didn't expect much from, or managed to obtain good GU residing in the bodies of the 100 beast kings they killed. So, despite the hardships they faced, they still ended up benefiting in the end, which greatly reminded Chen Wei of the effects of Luck Path, which shares the same creator as Blood Path in the novel. Of course, Chen Wei greatly benefited from his experiences in real life or death combat, definitely being the greatest on it of his generation. Though he didn't reach as critical a situation as his first mission, he still had several near-death experiences. Of course, his greatest gain in the meantime was his GU, which were refined to rank 2, each of them being very important in increasing his strength to the point where he is now one of the strongest in his team. Starting with the second rank 2 GU he refined, which is one of his greatest advantages for the early stages of cultivation, the 4 flavors liquor worm. This is a GU that probably only he has in this era, making him now have a middle stage scarlet red primeval stage despite still being in the initial stage of rank 2. This kind of advantage for someone like Chen Wei, who already has an A-grade talent, along with large amounts of cultivation resources is a fantastic weapon that allows him to grow much faster than anyone else. Together with the Blood Path's advantage of quickly being able to rise in combat strength with few resources, it's a perfect combination. Looking at it from this perspective, even with the help of their families, taking away his vital GU that would also be refined to rank 2 after they advanced in cultivation, most heirs of clan elders would take at least 3 months to obtain a rank 2 GU. But he already has 4 rank 2 GU, all refined by himself, as he feels more apt to refine his own GU than leave that task to others, believing that this won't be a luxury he'll have forever, so he plans to be proficient in refining GU. The third rank 2 GU he refined was the Blood Armor GU, which is now called the Blood Chief Armor GU for rank 2. And this GU has already done its job, saving him from being in the same situation he was in the past with the Boar 100 Beast King at least 3 times. In fact, after seeing the defensive strength of this new GU of his grandfather praised him extensively, saying that this one was at the peak of rank 2, with its only disadvantage being the high consumption of primeval essence, now consuming 10% of middle stage scarlet red primeval essence. And the fourth and last rank 2 GU refined by Chen Wei was the Blood Rush GU, now the Bloodthirst Rush GU, which has incredible speed but still maintains the disadvantage of possibly causing the GU master's veins to explode if used excessively. Quick, we still have to take these deer to the clan without letting them be killed by other beasts. This is much harder than it seems for them, who are constantly being attacked by beasts in recent days. But after various difficulties, both in reaching the clan without letting too many deer die and in killing all the beasts that attacked them along the way, they managed to reach the clan without anyone being gravely injured and complete their mission. With Chen Wei and Chen Ming soon reporting to their grandfather. Well, little Wei is really growing quickly, isn't he? Chen Wang speaks to his 2 grandsons who are kneeling on one knee before him. Usually, young people take longer to adjust to the real combat situation, but your adaptation was really quick. Chen Wang says with pride, but also a hint of worry about his grandson's safety, who went against his requests and decided to go on missions even after his first life or death experience. Of course, Chen Wang doesn't want to raise a spoiled heir, but he also doesn't want to see his grandson facing so many dangers that can really kill him, making the Chen family lose its most talented young master. I thank grandfather for the compliments. I wouldn't have come this far without your teachings and care. Chen Wei speaks calmly and composedly to his grandfather. Good grandson, Chen Wang smiles but also looks at Chen Wei worriedly. This concern comes from his request for him to be allowed to go to the front lines of the war. Chen Ming, I trust your verdict on whether your brother can handle himself on the front lines without dying, he asks, wanting to know his grandson's sincere opinion even if it doesn't please him. Grandfather, if Chen Wei isn't ready for the front lines, I don't know who is. Chen Ming speaks her sincere opinion to his grandfather, and of course, tries to help his brother a little, who has expressed to him his desire to fight on the front lines of the war. So be it then, from now on, you are authorized to enter the front lines of the war again, Chen Ming. Chen Wei, hearing his grandfather finally agreeing with his proposal, feels great nervousness but also excitement for the future. Heavens will really try to use this opportunity to kill me, but so be it. Chen Wei thinks confidently because he believes that the greater the risk he takes, the greater the benefits he will reap after overcoming his adversities. For more thrilling fanfiction stories like this, check out my channel Fanfic Audiobook. Dive into epic adventures, mysterious realms, and legendary journeys brought to life through immersive storytelling. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing audiobooks.